If you want to learn how to build the best world for your story or game, watch as we continue our world building series with Part 2, The Rules of Your World. There's a link in the description below to Part 1 if you need to catch up. Hello everyone, I'm Steel with Studio Blue, and this is Creator Classroom. Hello everyone, I'm Steel.
And I'm Teal.
And we're with Studio Blue.
Thank you for joining us for our Creator Classroom. This will be the second workshop in our world building series. And today's topic is Rules of the World.
I love how our webcam face knocks off part of our PowerPoint presentation. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no.
Just a little bit. You can't see the other part of the Roman numeral 2.
Okay.
Hello, Gryphon. Welcome to the stream. Everyone else who is watching, everyone who is lurking. These Creator Classrooms are where Teal and I take a topic that deals with either game design, writing, filmmaking, any variation thereof, and teach you a little bit about something. Usually it's a lecture first, followed by a workshop. Hello, Vera Claw. Welcome to the stream. All right, Teal. Let's just jump right on in.
Well, make sure you like and subscribe.
Yes, please. Please, please. That slime doesn't just pop out and hold up a like sign for nothing. But yes, this is our usual thing. So the first half will be Teal talking, and I'm going to shut up and just engage chat and answer questions. Second half is me doing a workshop with Teal engaging chat. So,
all right, so let's get started.
Yes.
The purpose of tonight's presentation is we're going to discuss creating the rules of our world. We're going to use 3 different sample worlds.
So I have a question, Teal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by rules?
Rules, what we mean by that is the physical and non-physical aspects of your world. The laws, the physical laws of your world, if you will.
Yeah.
The parameters that your world must conform to.
Ah, got it. It's like creating the rules of whatever your story is, and then sticking to it. It's creating the rules of your world.
Yes.
And then sticking to it. And Ventus, that's hilarious. I get where you're going with that.
Oh, Ventus.
Yes, very funny, sir. Well, what worlds will we be looking at?
Okay, so we're going to be looking at 3 worlds and 3 somewhat different set of rules. We'll be looking at Nirn from Elder Scrolls. We'll be looking at Amestris from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And then we're looking at the Earth of the Harry Potter stories.
Oh, cool. And yes, it's lava is hot. Yes, that actually is a rule. Yeah. Lava is hot.
And cats do not have wings.
Although
correct.
Slime cats, that's debatable. So I think the reason we chose these is because they have a lot of similarities, but also some stark differences, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
I looked for worlds that represented, I wanted a video game, an anime, and a book.
Right.
And these 3 worlds are somewhat similar to ours, so that's why I chose them.
Right. They're not completely
different, completely alien.
Right. I think for the Harry Potter one, we're focusing on the novels, even though the books are extremely similar, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, like those that rules or rules. Oh, right. No, governance, law, and civilization, Rilo, that will be a different one. So when we talk about rules, we mean like you create a set of parameters under which your world operates, and then you follow them.
Yes.
All right. Well, this sounds exciting. So we got Nirn, we got Amestris, and we got Harry Potter's Earth. So let's jump in.
All right. So here are the rules that you should consider. You should consider your physical laws. That consists of sciences such as physics and chemistry. Your forces of time. You hit forces like gravity. Motion. You want friction and heat.
Yes.
Time, the passage of time.
Right.
So you need to look at the physical laws of your world.
Yes.
Next is your cosmological model.
Ah, yes.
where is your world physically located in outer space,
Right.
if you will?
Right.
What is the cosmological model? Is it part of a solar system? Is it a solitary world? Do galaxies exist and black holes and things like that?
Yes.
So that's what we mean by cosmological model.
Like, for example, one of the worlds we're building is technically takes place in what we call a snow globe, while others have actual entire universes. I see what you're saying. And yeah, Vero, thank you. We chose this one because Amestris is such an interesting place.
Very interesting, yes. Okay, another rule you want to consider is your metaphysical
Right.
aspects. Metaphysical can be such things as magic, energy manipulation,
Right.
psychic abilities,
Mm.
chi.
Yes, BG, it does. It does.
Yes, magic must be factored into the world.
Mm-hmm.
It is a parameter.
BG, that's a very good example. BG's referencing the death scenes in last week's Final Fantasy VII Remake, where they do establish at a certain point an injury is so great even magic won't help, which will help, of course, with the major death that occurs in the story later. So yes, establish those rules.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. We move on to supernatural.
Yes.
Do you have deities?
Mm-hmm.
Spirits? Ghosts? Do you have otherworldly beings? Or monsters?
Monsters, right.
Those all need to be set down and defined.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, honey. We do differentiate between ghosts and spirits, correct?
Yes, we do.
Right. Like a spirit would be like a spiritual entity, while a ghost is a dead human.
Right.
Or dead person.
It's a dead person.
Got it. Okay.
And then afterlife. Do you have one?
Right.
Where is it? What is it like?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because that's kind of the great big question, too, and a lot of fiction deals with that simply because of the lack of, our own understanding of it.
Right.
BG says, mine made it that if you get them fast enough, right. There's one scene where you can save someone head cut off, but you have to react right now. So interestingly enough, and we don't want to get too deep into the worlds that Teal's going to be covering, but a lot of worlds will do that where a magical spell can save a person's life if you legitimately get to them immediately after death, because like the soul hasn't departed or whatever, and that's a fascinating thing. But there's also some where a person dies and you can bring them back to death.
Bring them back from death. Mm-hmm.
Like Overlord, the anime we were watching. You can raise someone from the dead even after they've been dead for a while if your powers are high enough. So you have to factor those rules in because, as we were talking about, you can't break your rules, right, Teal?
That's correct. You do not break your rules.
Right. Exactly, BG. So you made a rule and you can't break it. All right. Let's punch this.
Okay. So let's go over our sample worlds.
Right.
By looking at each of the rules we want to consider.
Absolutely.
So the first one is your physical laws, and we're taking a look at the physical laws of Nirn. Okay, they do have forces that are similar to Earth. You've got gravity, you've got inertia, friction, and heat. The flow of time is similar. They have a 24-hour day-night cycle, 30-day month, a 12-month year. They have alchemy. Alchemy here actually works.
Yes.
The way their alchemy works is you mix potions with reagents, and you can get either beneficial medicines or harmful poisons. And they also have elements and materials. They have gold, silver, and iron. But they also have Daedric and Dragonbone.
Right.
That's not something that's found.
Right.
Here.
And their version of obsidian, their version of volcanic glass.
Right.
Is, our glass, our obsidian is extremely brittle. Their glass is extremely hard. I think it's the most powerful light material.
Yes.
So, and Rilo says you can't break your own rules. Bethesda sweats profusely. Actually, Bethesda does break its own rules, not as much as it breaks its lore. Bethesda lore breaks a lot. But they do break their rules sometimes, and they shouldn't. Shame on them.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, these are the physical laws that govern Nirn.
A very base, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Very base. Very much, this is how a fantasy world works. When I see Nirn, I think of D&D. I really do.
Right. It's very similar to D&D.
Yes, very much so. BG says Square Enix sweats profusely. Now, that's true.
That's true.
Enix breaks its rules all the time. Okay.
So let's move on to the physical laws of Amestris. Okay. They have forces identical to Earth.
Right.
It's assumed that it's very Earth-like. So they have forces and time and gravity, inertia, all identical to our Earth.
Right.
They don't have magic. Instead, they have the science of alchemy.
Right.
It acts like magic to us.
Right.
But for them, it is a science.
Right.
But it is an immutable science. It's an exact science. It follows rules. These rules cannot be broken. I
see. So where a lot of fictions will have magic, where you can kind of fudge the rules here and there, the quote-unquote magic, this alchemy of Amestris, cannot be broken.
Correct.
Very interesting. Side note, if I ever lose a limb, I want automail, hands down.
One of the biggest physical rules they have, they really expand on this point, is the law of equivalent exchange.
It's like basically one of the main plot points of the entire anime.
Yes.
BG says with the pissed off Sword Art Online. Yeah, they do break their own rules. They do. It's a video game, but yes, I agree, BG. That is a shitty point. Now, Vero says the law of equivalent exchange, one of the best, fun, interesting laws ever seen. Okay, so it's just one of Vero's favorite animes, and the law brings that out. Cool.
Again, this is a law that is a backbone to this world.
Right. So by breaking it, they would break everything the anime is.
They would break their entire story, all their world building, everything.
Right. So we wouldn't break that law. The law of equivalent exchange is what you would refer to as a bedrock law that you can't break without breaking your story.
Correct.
Okay, Ventus. He says Edward's a stud.
Okay, here's the physical laws that you find in Harry Potter's Earth. Okay. Harry Potter's Earth is truly divided between two worlds. You had the Muggle world and the Wizarding world.
Right.
The Muggle world is identical to our Earth in every way.
Right.
Okay, the forces, gravity, time, science, physics, chemistry, it's all the same.
Their hurricane, if I recall, affected the UK the same way that a hurricane would in real life.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Now, but the Wizarding world does bend physical laws. That's its very nature.
Right.
So, for example, we have Night Bus. It was speeding through London, and it just squeezes, and it gets skinny, and it goes up and down, and it has its own. It bends the physical laws.
Right.
That we know. The Black's townhouse, same thing. It's hidden between two existing townhouses, and then they kind of open up, and then there it is. Okay. So that is a huge feature in Harry Potter's Earth, is that the Wizarding world will bend physical law.
Absolutely. So let's answer a few questions here. So Rilo says he's kind of amazed how SAO, Sword Art, never has any glitches that could justify rule breaks. That's true. They don't explore that enough because it's a virtual reality world. If they could have quote unquote like a glitch in the Matrix or a code break or something, a lot of their rule breaks that pisses people off would be significantly more forgivable. Now, Teal and I are huge fans of Sword Art, so we just forgive because we enjoy the show. But as designers, as writers, we understand why a person would be angry at that world.
Yes.
And to answer your question, yes, as Chat has said, yes, the Muggle world and the Wizard world are the exact same. There's not
They're on the same Earth, yes.
Same physical space even. It's just because of different charms that the wizards use, muggles just don't see it. It's kind of like a mental obfuscation.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's all because back in the day, if the basically wizards don't like getting burnt at the stake. That's really the reason. They don't like getting hunted down and killed.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
Right.
By the way, that is an actual shot of the real night bus. They built a copy of it. It exists. It doesn't function, but it's real.
It's now a tourist spot, I believe.
Right, it is.
Okay. Let's move on to the cosmological model.
What are you talking about, BG, with the one that irked me, the MC dies? Are you talking about Harry? If you're talking about Harry Potter, there was a reason behind that. And Rowling spent the all 7 books building up how Harry was able to survive getting hit by Avada Kedavra.
Right.
Yeah. Like, okay. Yeah, okay. Then we're good. By the way, spoilers all over the place for everything because the stuff's been out for a while. All right, here we go. Cosmological models.
Of Nirn. Okay. Nirn is...
It would knock right over.
It is a solitary planet.
Yes.
It's possibly a geocentric model.
Right.
Without an actual galaxy.
Right.
It has 1 day star, 2 moons, and a visual nebula that could be Oblivion, but the lore is uncertain on that.
Right.
The unchanging constellations of this world suggest a static universe.
It does. Which is interesting because the whole concept of the universe, Orbis, as they call it, being that overlap between those two cosmic forces, Anu and Padme, when they get into the whole concept of Chim and the tower, which is way beyond the scope here of this workshop, they get into the whole idea of a dreaming universe, a universe that exists in sleep. And it's really fascinating. But the whole concept, of course, what Teal is saying, is that the Nirn universe, the Elder Scrolls universe, it doesn't actually ever change. It stays static.
Yes.
Okay, Rilo. Yeah, that's right. He does. Yes, he wills himself back. Yes, pretty much. Okay.
All right. The cosmological model for Amestris. All right, the problem with this is that there is no official name or identification for their cosmological model. It's not even explored. We assume that it's identical to Earth. We assume that, it's part of a solar system and it rotates around the sun, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But we don't know.
Right.
We do know it has 1 day star and 1 moon.
Right.
And we do assume that there's changing constellations. So it suggests a dynamic universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are shots of the night sky. But it's a little hard to pin this one down because it doesn't have very much data on this. So the assumption is that this is very Earth-like.
Now, chatting about this for a second, Teal, obviously there's 2 versions of the anime. There's the 2003 one, and then there's Brotherhood,
Right.
which is closer to the manga. In the 2003 one, we know that Earth exists because near the end, Edward travels to it. In Brotherhood, that's never even explored, but we still know this is not our Earth.
Right.
So the reason this is important is, as a designer, whether you're writing a book, movie, video game, if you want to assume Earth-like, if you want the viewer to assume Earth, then just give Earth-like things and then don't explain the rest. And the person will fill in the blanks with what they know, which is Earth. And they did it beautifully in this anime, because you think Earth, so you think, our sun, you think the solar system. Amestris could be in a galaxy billions of light years away.
Could be.
Closer to its galactic core, as opposed to us where we're kind of like way out in the band. It doesn't matter. We fill in the blanks, and that's the beauty of familiarity, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I do find it funny when certain people try to claim certain weathers are not realistic. Oh, yeah, no, South Texas, BG, we went from 0 to ass in like 5 seconds. It was crazy today with weather. So, all right, what we got?
Okay. So the cosmological model for Harry Potter's Earth.
Okay.
All right, so officially, it's called the universe. Okay.
Right, not to be confused with the branding, right?
Right.
Right.
It is the exact same as our real Earth. You know, it has the planets, solar system, galaxy. We rotate around the sun. We have one sun, one moon.
Mm-hmm.
The constellations do change. We know the universe is expanding. It's even said in the book. We can assume anything from our cosmology applies to this cosmology.
Right.
And again, it draws upon the familiarity that we have with our own real world. So it's easy for the reader to put themselves into the setting and just go with it.
Yes. Now, this also allows a very beautiful thing where, since we are familiar with our own cosmology, we can use it to enhance our lore. For example, if they wanted to use like Halley's Comet, or tidal forces, or conjunctions where you actually have solar eclipses, those things can be utilized rather easily because the rules for that cosmos already exist in our reality. You just borrow them. So what Rowling did was she took our universe and just said, well, magic. So in a way she's constricted, yes, but in a way she also has a lot she can choose from. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
And Ryla, we have a friend who actually lives up in Chicago, so yeah, we know about that.
Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's get into the metaphysical.
Metaphysics.
Yes. The metaphysical aspects of the world of Nirn. Okay? It has magic. It has a lot of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Magic is a big deal in Nirn.
It really is.
This magic is so prolific that they have separated it into schools.
Right.
So you have alteration, conjuration, destruction, those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
You even got other types of magic that aren't practiced by human wizards, such as alien magic, blood magic of the vampires, the tonal magic of the Dwemer. So magic everywhere.
As Teal and I were saying, we were prepping at this at the Elder Scrolls. In the Elder Scrolls universe, you basically throw magic at a problem until you fix it.
Yeah.
I say, oh God, please be safe. Those tornadoes are scary, but yeah, blizzard to severe thunderstorm for BG. That's scary. Oh, Rilo asks a question, Teal. Where do we draw the line between lore/world rules and gameplay mechanics? Very good question. Do you want to field that one, or do you want me to?
Sure. The rules are going to be, you're going to feel like that they're a summation. They feel rather broad. Gameplay mechanic is getting very granular with how it works and using processes and systems.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you would use your world rule, like magic in the Elder Scrolls, to create the foundation. And then what Teal says, then you would put the mechanics in based off of that. So if you break your world rules, you're breaking your foundation, and that breaks your mechanics, or makes your mechanics seem unfair, unbalanced. And that's the same if you're writing a book or making a movie. You know, the moment you break that foundation, unless you've built up that loophole, like Harry Potter coming back from limbo, people are going to call bullshit. And, oh, that's cool. Okay, thanks, BG.
All right, so really to build on that point, magic spells cost an energy that's called magicka to use.
Right.
Okay, that is the basis for the gameplay mechanic. You have to spend a magicka.
Right.
And what is that magicka? Well,
yes.
It's energy. That's what it is, energy.
Right.
And most of that energy is going to be planar energy from Oblivion and or Aetherius.
Right. Oh, okay, so let's address what BG says. First, BG, that's fine. Spam is fine for anything where if you don't know where to put it in spam. Second, yes, because D&D, it's the same thing. You're not using your own internal energy. You're using other planar energy, and you can only use it X number of times per day. Well, because it's a video game, Elder Scrolls wanted to use sort of an MP system similar to the MP of JRPGs of old, or that's how they got Magicka. All that Magicka is, mechanically, is a points system to cast an effect. Lore-wise, which is what Teal is talking about, it's that planar energy from Oblivion and or Aetherius.
In addition to magic, you also have powers. Powers have no magical cost. They cannot be learned. Mm-hmm. But they do have limited uses per day. You can get powers from certain racial powers, by touching a standing stone, etc. Mm-hmm. So these powers exist. You have Thuum, dragon shouts.
Right, which require you to be, of course, a dragonborn.
Yes.
Or a greybeard, or specially trained by the greybeards, etc. Mm-hmm.
That's metaphysical in nature.
Right, very much so.
And lastly, because you have these things, this power and this magic, immortality is relatively easy to achieve here.
You have a ton of people in Nirn who have achieved various stages of immortality, whether it be becoming a lich, just being immortal because whatever, or becoming a god like the Tribunal in Morrowind.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's really easy in Nirn to stop the clock on your life.
It is.
Now, Rilo asks, what if you cast the maximum spell cast at 11:55? Would you get it back at midnight, or is once per day mean a 24-hour cooldown? It depends on the system. If you're talking about D&D, it also depends on the edition of D&D. Some of them, it was midnight. Some of it's a 24-hour period. Some of it is a quote-unquote day in fuzzy time, where it's when your character gets a full night's sleep. Then you can relearn your spells through meditation if you're a cleric, or your spell book if you're a wizard. So again, Rilo, this is where you as the designer create that rule and then don't break that rule. All right.
Okay. Let's take a look at the metaphysical. You got these slides out of order. Of Amestris.
That's not good. We'll have to check that next time. That's okay.
Okay. So let's talk about magic.
Right.
Doesn't exist.
No.
Magic is supplanted by the science of alchemy.
So all those times that they make fireballs or electrocute somebody with lightning or turn their arm into a blade and stab them in the face, it's
alchemy.
Science.
It's science, alchemy. Mm-hmm.
So let's peel back the onion for a second. Guys, this is magic. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can put whatever rules you want to put on it. It is alchemy in the world lore. It's magic for the sake of effect. There's no difference between magic in another system and alchemy in Fullmetal Alchemist except for the rules. And that's what makes the world of Amestris and the rules of alchemy and the laws of equivalent exchange so amazing, is that you can do all this quote-unquote magic, and I'm using air quotes like there's no tomorrow, but it follows a very strict set of rules. And that's why it is actually pretty incredible. Because they don't just say, oh, wave a wand and say, you know, expecto patronus, and shit happens. You actually have to have the materials. You have to have the static in the air, the heat of the fire, etc. So it's magic, and I'm using air quotes again, but it's actually science.
Correct.
Right.
Another metaphysical aspect of this world is the gate of truth.
Oh boy.
These gates are very important to this world. Everyone has one. According to the Gaia principle, even planets have a gate.
Forgive the noob over here who wrote Eric. I meant to write Edward. So it's Edward and Alphonse. That was on me, not on Teal. But everything has a gate, right, honey?
Correct.
Yeah.
You have also part of the metaphysical objects. You've got something called the Philosopher's Stone. This Philosopher's Stone can circumvent the law of equivalent exchange.
Right.
That's what makes it metaphysical.
Right. So it's the loophole to breaking a rule. Remember how we talked about you can break a rule if you build a loophole. The Philosopher's Stone is the loophole to breaking a rule. And St. Gryphon, what's welcome to the stream, Gryphon, by the way. What's unplayable? Let us know. Okay.
And lastly, immortality in this world is only possible through the Philosopher's Stone.
There it is.
Nothing more to be said there.
No, it's not. Oh, you're messed up. Oh, okay. No, it's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. The metaphysical aspects of Harry Potter's Earth. Okay. Harry Potter's Earth has magic. But magic, only people, I don't know who typed this. Looking at you, Steele.
In my defense, I was doing 3 things at once.
Good Lord.
Hey, at least it's not a technical difficulty. This is the first stream without one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
The night is still young.
So people are born with it. That's how you get magic. People are born with it.
Hush you, BG.
You have to be trained, properly trained to use it effectively.
Right.
And you must use incantations and a wand to make it work.
And that's so important. And I love Rowling for this. People give her shit for her world, but she creates very early on that you have to have an incantation, even if it's silent, which means you think it, but you have to have that wand. And that wand lore becomes paramount in the story's finishing act.
Yes.
So, I mean, you talk about it, you build your foundation, and then you run with it. Magic. Vinta says magic, alchemy, arts, jutsu. Yeah, all of that. Just all of it. Devil fruits, yes. That's actually cool. The One Piece devil fruits. Absolutely. That's all that. All right.
Also in this world, non-humans can use magic. And sometimes their use of magic comes much more easily to them than they do to a wizard.
Yeah, we're looking at you house elves, right?
Right. House elves, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Dobby is a true elf.
Also Vila.
Oh God, Vila, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's we focus a lot on the house elves because of the Dobby and creature, but yes, the Vila. So some of the races in the Harry Potter universe make wizards look stupid. Wizards are actually not really that good.
Exactly. But again, magic is very prolific here.
Yeah.
Another metaphysical thing you have in this world are enchanted objects. So you have wands, and you have the Philosopher's Stone, otherwise called the Sorcerer's Stone here in America. You have the Time Turner, Cloak of Invisibility. These are all enchanted objects.
So even the quote-unquote Deathly Hallows are actually just enchanted objects. They're just very powerful ones.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay, so Vero says, wands are like focuses in D&D. You require them to use magic. Yes. Unlike in D&D where there are exceptions, there are no exceptions in the Harry Potter book universe. You have to have a wand to cast a spell. I think they go kind of a little bit off the rails in the movies a little bit, which is why we're focusing on the books.
Yeah, the books are very explicit in wand use.
Right. But fortunately, you can use a wand other than your own, the one you were originally given. That's fine. But you have to have a wand. And hey, Kia, welcome to the stream. It is. Ventus, all the house elves, if the house elves wanted to rise against humans, the house elves would win. Okay.
And lastly, immortality in Harry Potter's world can be achieved through the elixir of life or Horcruxes.
But neither one of those are just snap your fingers and you live forever.
No. The elixir of life requires a supply of the ingredient, which are very, very hard to find.
Right.
And to have a Horcrux requires a loss of your humanity. So there's a very, very high cost to achieving immortality.
Welcome to the stream, Wolf. And Wolf says machine guns are better than wizards.
Yes.
Because, as we all know, the first rule of mage warfare is...
kill the mage.
Yeah, kill the mage. Eliminate the mage.
All right. let's go to the supernatural.
That's my boy right there.
That's a lovely picture of a Sheogorath.
Mm-hmm.
So, the supernatural aspects of Nirn. You have got, for lack of a better word, the gods. You've got
Right.
the Greater Aedra and Daedra.
Right.
They're known as the Divines and the Daedric Princes. You have Lesser Daedra, such as the Dremora, the Golden Saints, and Dark Seducers.
We didn't put down Lesser Aedra because they've never really been encountered. We assume they exist, but the Aedra don't like to interact with humanity. And Rilo says, how about magic machine guns? That's fine. I'm sorry. Ventus said that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a machine gun that shoots magic bullets. You can have a machine gun that is powered by magic.
Yeah.
Again, it's just creating your world. Thank you, Rilo, for the killing the white mage. All right, kill the healer.
All right. So going back to the supernatural of Nirn, you've got Greater Aedra and Daedra, Lesser Daedra.
Right.
You have ghosts.
Yes.
And ghosts can be anything from just dead entities to wandering spirits, such as the Headless Horseman, poltergeists,
Right.
and guardians of crypts, or
They would be like your Draugr, right? Or your ancestral ghosts.
ancestral ghosts.
Yes.
Or the ghost of a dead adventurer or dead somebody.
Right.
And he's either going to help you or he's going to beat you up. So you got all of that in there.
Right. I mean,
Then you also have what?
I was gonna say some ghosts specifically want the help of the player, like Trina's ghost in Skyrim with the Aedric crown. Others want to just kill you because you're there. So it's very loosey-goosey, their ghost lore.
But ghosts are always somebody who used to be alive and now they're dead.
Right.
Okay. Also, you have monsters in this world. Such things as Spriggans, which are your nature female trees that attack you. You got vampires, werewolves, trolls, all kinds of different monsters. Right. And just to reiterate, the Divines and Daedric Princes do act as gods in this world. Right.
Because you never have any access to Anu or Padamai or any of that. The closest thing you're going to get to a god is the Divines and the Daedric Princes, with the Divines being more powerful but less directly enacting. The Divines don't do as much physically.
No.
Hey, Leaf, welcome to the stream. Oh, also, Zarsla says, in some forms of D&D, you can use material components instead of a focus. Right, Zarsla, exactly. But the rules are laid out. And of course, going back to what Teal's talking about, those Daedric Princes, their meddling in human affairs is most of the plot points of just about every Elder Scrolls.
Right, because that's what they do.
That's what they do. And also, one quick thing before you slip over, you can become a god, can't you, in the Elder Scrolls universe?
That is correct.
Yes.
In the Shivering Isles expansion, you, the player, can actually become Sheogorath.
Right.
And the player Sheogorath, I put that in quotes, shows up in Elder Scrolls 5.
Right. The Sheogorath you associate with in that game is the player character from the 4th, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Also, Talos became a divine. Theoretically. Yeah, but to say, yes, Zarsla, yes. Exactly. Yeah, theoretically, he became a divine. Whether or not he actually ascended to Aedrahood, who knows? He probably did. Okay, yeah, most Moda. All right, let's continue with my... Hey, it actually went in the right order. Yay!
Yeah. Okay, so the supernatural aspect of Amestris. Okay, you have this being called the Truth. It's a godlike being who appears to govern all the laws, including the law of equivalent exchange.
Yes.
And the controls for each person's gate.
No, I did not denounce the 9th divine. I follow the old ways, the 8+1. That's my way of getting around that one. The Truth is creepy, by the way. He is a monad, which is a supreme being of ultimate everything. But at the same time, he encompasses a negative reaction to hubris. The best way to describe it is the truth appears when you done fucked up.
Yes. Okay. You also have creatures called the homunculi in this world.
Mm-hmm.
They appear quite frequently through the stories.
Yes.
You've got basically the sins, the 7 deadly sins,
mm-hmm.
plus someone called the Father.
Right. By the way, if this is not a plug for the anime, but if you haven't seen it, watch Brotherhood. It's apparently it's really good. I saw the original series. I plan to watch Brotherhood. I will also say this. Apparently homunculi, even though they only have the 7 and Father, apparently homunculi are not a completely uncommon, like super rare thing. They exist. Would that be the monsters, quote unquote, or the construct heal?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then you also have unknown entities in this world. You have something called the Eye of God.
Right.
And it's this thing that pulls alchemists into the gate to meet the truth when you're attempting the forbidden human transmutation.
Right. It's not really explored what the Eye of God actually is. A lot of times artists will put the truth with the Eye of God as a part of it. So it is what it is. But there's definitely something beyond just peoples in the Amestris universe.
Absolutely.
Hey,
welcome
Reverie.
to the stream, Reverie and Boo Boo Hotep.
Yeah, welcome so much to the stream. That's cool, Leaf. Yes, werewolf just fighting its pride outside the forest. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The supernatural aspect of Harry Potter's Earth.
That's our girl right there.
And that is Moaning Myrtle.
That's Moaning Myrtle.
Okay.
That's Teal's favorite ghost.
She's my favorite. Okay, so in this world, you have ghosts, both real ghosts and the mnemonic impression of ghosts.
Right.
Real ghost would be Peeves.
Who?
Peeves. Poltergeist.
Peeves. Okay.
Peeves.
Okay.
But a mnemonic ghost would be Nearly Headless Nick.
Nearly Headless Nick, right. Moaning Myrtle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my question to you, Teal. At the very end of the final book, when Harry uses the Resurrection Stone and talks to Sirius and his parents, those are the actual dead spirits, right? He is actually talking to them using the stone so long as he holds it.
No.
No,
is not.
okay.
No. They make that quite clear. It's not them.
All right.
No. It's the impression of them because Voldemort killed them with that wand.
Okay. But most of the ghosts we see in the Harry Potter universe
you mean the part where he's looking in the mirror?
No, I'm talking about when he's holding the Resurrection Stone in the Deathly Hallows. In the book The Deathly Hallows, when he's about to go meet Voldemort to get killed.
That's not them.
That's not them.
No, they're not. That's not the real them. No.
Okay.
No. Okay. Let's not get derailed, Steel.
Well, I do not. I just want to understand the difference between real ghosts and mnemonic ghosts. The vast majority, are those impressions, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay. You have...
Rilo, she was killed. Moaning Myrtle, the real Moaning Myrtle, was killed by a basilisk. The one you meet, the ghost that haunts Harry, that's not really her. None of them are really ghosts. They're the impressions. Please continue.
Okay. You have magical races in this world. For example, you've got house elves and Vila. You got leprechauns, mermaids, centaurs, goblins. And you've got magical creatures such as kestrels and hippogriffs. And of course, the dragons.
Yes.
Monsters like dementors, vampires, werewolves, trolls. And any gods that people worship will be assumed to be from a real Earth religious mythos.
Right. Harry Potter universe never actually talks about any deity, any real deity.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
All right.
All right. Let's move on.
Okay.
The afterlife.
The old afterlife.
Okay. So, I had a lot of fun with this one. The afterlife of Nirn. When a person dies, they have a choice to go to a variety of different places depending on what the heck's happened to them. So they could go to one of several benign places. If you're a Nord, you can go to Sovngarde, which is like Valhalla.
That's the only place to go.
If you're a Redguard, you can go to the Far Shores. If you're an Argonian, you can go to the Hiss.
Right.
If you've been a rather naughty human, you can go to an Oblivion plane, such as one of the Daedric realms. Okay. If you made a deal and lost with a Molag Bol, you will go to Cold Harbor.
And it will not be pleasant.
No.
Wolf says Sovngarde and a bunch of hells.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it's both. There's Sovngarde and then there's not Sovngarde.
Right. Shivering Isles is the realm of Sheogorath.
Right.
Moon Shadow is where Khajiit go.
That would be Azura's plane, right?
Yes, that's Azura's plane.
Yes.
So, you have a selection of Oblivion planes if you made a deal and lost with a prince.
Right. Or if you're a loyal servant, I mean.
Or, yes, if you're a loyal servant. I wasn't going to mention that, but yes.
Yes. The far plane from FF10, exactly. And also, if you get screwed over and get soul trapped, you go to the Soul Cairn.
Yes. And
that sucks. The Dragonborn has a seat reserved in Sovngarde where their soul was promised in the Daedric Princes, which place takes priority. Akatosh can figure that one out. I'm not going to sit here and try to debate Elder Scrolls lore. Because Bethesda's proven they can change that with a snap of Todd Howard's fingers. But the reality is this. If it's ever a Aedra versus a Daedra, the Aedra win. Because the Aedra are more powerful.
Yes. Okay. Now, you don't have to go anywhere. When you die, you can become a wandering ghost. Like that poor headless horseman.
Yep.
That's a real dude. Or you can become a guardian spirit. And you're guarding some temple or some place. And that's where you're at.
Yep.
And generally it takes some extraordinary circumstances to get you to move on. And then of course there's reincarnation. And that is a very plentiful thing in Nirn.
Yeah. Now,
it happens a lot to the Altmer.
It really does. Now, I do want to make a quick statement here about afterlife in general in Nirn.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of shitty. Overall. Yeah, there's some good points, but I mean, even like, for example, Sovngarde, you go to Sovngarde and you're either in one of the halls of heroes, eating, drinking, fighting, screwing, singing, killing, or you're getting your ass eaten by the World Eater.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some shit there. You go to an Oblivion plane and you're basically tortured for all eternity. Or you're like a guardian spirit of the Dunmer and you're basically just sleeping in a crypt.
Yeah.
And only waking up to either assist a descendant or attack the player character who's invading your shit and get killed and blowed up anyway.
Right.
So it really is actually a shit deal. There's no real, you're going to get relaxation, rest, and eternal respite in the Elder Scrolls. And I think that's one of the reasons why reincarnation is such a thing.
Right. Because you're either, and what you didn't mention is an Oblivion plane, if you're a servant.
Yeah.
Then you're there forever. Serving that prince and the whims of that prince. Forever. Yeah.
It can work out for you, but it might not. And if it doesn't, it's not good. You're right. So Boba Hotep, nothing beats the afterlife of the 40k universe for sucking. You're right. And Rilo, that's why people seeing immortality. Because who the hell wants to deal with these variables? There's too many variables in the Nirn afterlife. Way too many.
Okay, let's see. Afterlife of Amestris. Here we go. So, again, you're involving the Gate of Truth.
Yes.
It's kind of like a limbo place, a place just to go. Because it is possible to come back from being in the Gate of Truth.
Right.
using the Philosopher's Stone or Edward's final sacrifice.
Yes, me once again. Wrong word, wrong name. But without going too deeply into the end, you can actually give up a certain thing, and you can completely circumvent equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
But that's the big quote unquote thing of the anime, the manga. So anyway, it is possible, but you're going to give up a whole hell of a lot.
Yes, you are. Okay, and the afterlife of Harry Potter.
I searched 20 minutes for this picture.
Very nice picture of the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the afterlife. It is personal to each visitor.
Yep.
For Harry, it was a train station to the final destination.
Yep.
It was like a limbo where he got to talk to Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm.
But it is said to be personal.
Right. Now, the one thing Rowling never answers this. Was that the real Dumbledore or just an impression? That is the one thing Rowling will not say yes or no on. I personally believe that it was Dumbledore's spirit ready to take Harry to the afterlife. But that's just my personal belief. It could have been just as equally be a psychic impression.
It could be.
Yeah.
But the point here is that this world does touch upon an afterlife, and you only get to basically the gate of it.
Right.
And you don't know what's beyond it because no one ever comes back.
Ever.
Once you're dead, you're gone.
That's it. And that is such an important plot point for Rowling's world because it is the driving force behind He Who Shall Not Be Named, Voldemort, doing his thing.
Yes.
Well, very right. It is an opinion because Rowling doesn't actually say that. And that's a great idea, Ventus. Ventus says a world full of immortal beings where death is sought after. That's fantastic.
That's actually a really good idea.
Very good idea.
And as long as you are consistent with that parameter you've set up, then it'll be a believable world and you'll have a very successful world building experience.
Yes. I have seen that done very rarely. And I mean literally very rarely. Where someone has had a world built off of seeking death as opposed to avoiding death.
Right.
So good job, Ventus. Like seriously, make that happen. Well, right. There is no spell that can bring the dead back to life. Hey, awesome. Hey,
Zephyros Kratos.
Thank you so much, Zephyros, for the follow. Oh, Lord Kia. All right, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Okay, so yeah, this is that.
Okay, so that is the end of my presentation, if you will, on creating your backbone rules for your world.
Right. First off, I do apologize for the slides being out of order. That was a barf on my end. But Teal has done a great job. We're going to have questions now if anyone wants to ask them.
Let's go ahead and open this up to discussion. Questions.
Right. When we do break, we're going to go to BRB for about a minute or two, 5 at the most. And then I will be at the helm, and Teal will be back here in the director's booth. And we'll build a world. We're going to build something. But let's open up some questions, and let's kind of take a look at where we were at. So, first off, if we kind of barfed any of the world lore, whether it be Fullmetal Alchemist, Harry Potter, or Elder Scrolls, our apologies. We put these things together. We cram a lot of information in. So forgive us diehard fans if we got something wrong. It's, the idea isn't to discuss the anime, books, whatever.
No.
The idea is to show you how these worlds build these rules, because you have to have these rules. We're always talking about when we're doing our critical plays of games, or back when we did Let's Plays of RPG Maker games, build your rules, but then don't break your rules. And gosh, Teal, how many people have we seen broken their own rules, right?
Way too many.
Yeah. And it's infuriating. As a writer, I see that a lot in works that I read where, people who I'm in peer groups with will say, hey, Steele, could you look at this? and they'll set up a rule, but then they'll break it and they'll think, aha, I'm being clever, neat little twist. Well, no, it isn't. At that point, you're lying. It's the same thing if you're making a video game. If you say, under no circumstances, you can't cast magic during the nighttime, and somebody casts a spell at night, you better have the world's best explanation. Because if you just go, haha, you can cast spells at night, tee-hee, then you're breaking a rule, and that pisses your player, your reader off. Don't do that.
So the rules that I went over here, physical laws, cosmological model, metaphysical, supernatural, and afterlife, is just a sample of the things that you want to consider for your world. This is by no means a complete list. This is just to get you started, get you thinking about the parameters of your world.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Zephyros. Thank you. You know, people are awesome, and you are one of them. We are all loved. But yeah, you got to have those rules. And I think really a checklist would help, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you put together a checklist, a spreadsheet, that sort of thing.
Right. And then
to keep it foremost in your mind as you're creating your world.
Right. Let's see. Okay, so Gryphon is saying, or have a rule that breaks the rule, only night elves can... Right, now that's correct. Okay, Gryphon, those are what we call those loopholes. You're setting those loophole precedents, like, you know, nothing can break the law of equivalent exchange. It is the most unmutable law of the Full Metal Alchemist universe, except for the Philosopher's Stone. And that loophole becomes a plot point. So absolutely, Gryphon, what you're talking about is creating those loopholes. Barrow says, what is worse in your opinion? A world's rule that gets abandoned by the writer, or a rule that gets completely retconned? Oh, I have an answer to that, but if you want to toss that one out, Teal, since you're the player right now.
Sure. My opinion is it's the rule that gets completely retconned.
Agree completely.
I do not like retconning.
Yeah.
To me, that's very sloppy planning.
Yes.
You should never have to retcon.
If you have to retcon a rule...
If you have to retcon anything.
Right. If you have to retcon a rule, you better be a DM, a GM, experimenting with a new system and realizing that rule didn't work with your beta team. That's it. Seriously, if you're a game designer and you're making a game, don't retcon your rule. If you're a writer, don't retcon. Don't retcon anything. I'd rather it get abandoned. Leave it alone, right? So yeah, exactly what Teal said.
Yeah.
Now, Rilo says, Skyrim says that dragons were gone since Alduin's defeat, yet dragons are a fairly common enemy.
In Daggerfall.
With Daggerfall. We have talked about this repeatedly.
Yep, we have.
Bethesda, for all their great game design, does not know what they're doing with their lore. They started creating a game. They made Arena. It was a fantastic game for its time. Daggerfall was even better. Then they were like, hey, we're onto something. And they made Morrowind, and then Oblivion, and then eventually Skyrim, and a bunch of other shit in between. And they kind of said, maybe we need to start unifying our lore. Because really, all Arena and Daggerfall are just awesome games without a real world constructed. They're just there. You know, it's like, I think you have giants, you have dragons.
It's just high fantasy.
High fantasy, yeah, it's just super high fantasy. And agreed, Gryphon, yeah, it's story by committee, right?
Yeah. They don't start getting serious about lore and world building until Morrowind.
Exactly. And then by that point, they kind of started making some statements that they had to roll back and retcon. And that's not good.
And, you know, there's a lot of retconning that goes on in Skyrim, and it's very disappointing.
The dragons that appear in Elder Scrolls Online. Hell, if you want to shift on over to the other Bethesda property, the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout 76. I'm not going to turn this into an anti-Bethesda stream, but I am going to say that Bethesda has huge issues with breaking its lore. Now, let's take that back a step, because you're talking about lore, Rilo. Let's talk about rules. Bethesda and the Elder Scrolls series don't break their rules nearly as much as they break their lore. Magicka is Magicka. It functions the way it always has. Stamina, when they introduced it, pretty much the same. They can change mechanics from game to game, and you as a game designer can do that. You can have a mechanic in game 1 act a certain way, and then you can tweak it and change it in game 2. You're allowed to do that. What you're not allowed to do is in the middle of game 1 say this mechanic works like this, and then just completely change it on the player so that the player is suddenly at a disadvantage. That's the shitty thing that we're talking about. BG says, I think they focus on making it work for one game, but not across the entire series. What I just said. Yes, exactly, BG. Yes. They focus on the here and now, not damn, Ventus, you derailed me.
Ventus.
Okay, throw out another question, please, somebody, so I can shut the hell up.
Well, I just want to throw out a comment that
Sure.
the world of Nirn is well constructed when it comes to the physical parameters of it. They don't break that. Magic is magic. The whole world is proliferate with magic.
Yes.
Lots of supernatural. So much supernatural going on. And they're very consistent with their physical laws of gravity and inertia, friction, time and distance. It's all very consistent.
It is. They did a good job when they finally sat down and decided how they wanted their cosmological model to work. Let's go to that. And they actually wrote the idea of Nirn, the physical world created by Lockhorn, wrapped around in Oblivion, which is then wrapped around in Aetherius. They did a really good job of that. Once they created that model, they haven't really broken that model. And that's why, despite the shit that we give it on the lore standpoint, their laws, their rules are actually pretty solid. You know, do they tweak it from time to time from game property to game property? Yes. But Teal, you're the resident lore master. Would you say that their lore sins far outweigh their rule breaking sins?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Zephyr says, I already enjoy this channel. Many people believe that Magicka is only subject to exist within games, anime, and other franchise types. I'm Wiccan and can say there's other types that do happen to exist within the real world, but less commonly known. See, there you go. So as people in whatever universe they're talking about, go ahead and set up the rules on which their magic works, they remain consistent. Yeah. And it's when you attempt to change the rules that people will call bullshit. Whether that be in a fictional world like Nirn, or practicing whatever your religious belief is here on Earth. It's when you start changing those rules that people call BS. Don't change your rules.
Don't change the rules.
Yeah.
Think long and hard about it. Yeah. Put it down to paper. Revise it.
Yes.
Then when you finalized it and you published it, if you will, that's it. That is written in stone. That's how the world is.
Oh, thank you so much, Vero. Hey, we are working on Rose and Hearts behind the scene, promise. But thank you. You have a great one. Lots of love. So yeah, it's consistency of the rule following is what's key.
Yeah.
You know.
Do we have any other questions?
Yes, because we can run questions for about 15 more minutes before we shift over to the halftime. So we got time for more questions, commentary, etc. Of the three, Teal, do you have which of the three worlds that we've had in this presentation? Thank you for the slime support. Which of these three do you feel is the most solid?
The most solid would be the Harry Potter world. Okay.
In my opinion, I think Amestris. I think the Full Metal Alchemist world has the most solid laws. But we're both in agreement that Nirn has the weakest.
It does, unfortunately.
Oh, Human says, rolling in fashionably late. Welcome to the stream, Human.
Thank you, Human. We're glad you're here.
Zephyr's asked questions about real world Wiccan. I am not very religious or spiritual. So, Teal, anything on your end?
I probably know enough to get in trouble.
Yeah. Ventus says Rosenhearts benefits from deriving its lore from the real world.
Yes.
Yes. It also benefits from its rules being pulled off of that world. You know.
Right. You know, the physics and chemistry and
right.
quantum physics and astrophysics and mathematics, it's all found in this world. So
right.
it makes the building the rules for their world quite simple, quite easy, actually.
So when we built the magical rules of the Rosenhearts world, as well as the spiritual rules, we used the concepts of Victorian, Illuminati, Freemasonry, you know, those sorcerous orders that existed in our real world past as groups, whether or not they, you know, believe what you believe, and mediums, which were huge back then. So we took those and just translated those over. So we did have that advantage. But here's the thing, Ventus, with the Rosenhearts, we have to make sure we know what we're talking about. We have to actually do our research and follow them, because if an expert of, for example, the old world Golden Dawn was to see our representation of it and we completely broke it, like just broke it like stupidly, right?
Mm-hmm.
People would call bullshit on our Golden Dawn. So we have a little bit, so you can't always say, hey, if I borrow from the real world, aha, I get a free pass. No, you actually...
No, actually you don't.
You don't. You get a little bit more on there. So anyway, BG says, sadly of those three, I've only heard of Harry Potter. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Human says, good to see Power Couple. Oh, thank you. We're
thank
the Power
you,
Couple.
Human.
The altar shall age in lack of spiritualism, murda. Even in heaven, there is no magic. Stab all the research. Well, I don't talk about my religious beliefs. I'm just saying overall, I'm not a very religious person, but it is what it is. Murda. Yeah, well, Murda is also... He hasn't been around either. I think he's off on a murder spree somewhere.
Probably.
Well, this is true, BG. So yeah, where were we? We were talking about the three worlds. So
yeah, the three worlds.
What is it about the Harry Potter world that gives you that vote?
Because for me, it seems to be the most solid, the most consistent, and there's more to it than to. No, I can't say that. It is the most solid and most consistent.
Okay.
I think of the three.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Also, Bubba Hotep paid you a great compliment. He said your voice sounds even better than last streams.
Oh, thank you.
She's working very hard on her.
Yes, I am.
She has. Yeah, Papa kills all. Thank you, BG. That's what the murder does. Okay, so my reason for saying that about the Full Metal Alchemist world, okay, is because of, and I think it was Vera who mentioned it, the law of equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
For me, the law of equivalent exchange, when the creator of Full Metal Alchemist created that law and then based everything off of it, he built himself a rock solid foundation. That's why I chose Full Metal Alchemist over Harry Potter, which would have normally been my choice.
Okay.
Fun sidebar, Teal's the reason I read Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
It's kind of funny. When Harry Potter first came out, I wasn't interested in it because every single one of our friends watched all the movies. I'm talking about the movies, not the books. Teal borrowed the books and said, Steele, you need to read these. This is right up your alley with world building. So I got into it because of her. But anyway, that rock solid foundation of the law of equivalent exchange for me is the reason why I feel that one's the most solid world. They build a, like you said, immutable foundation. So, we're talking about Harry Potter. Okay.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Aggravated assault is an arrestable crime. Yeah, pretty much, Rilo. Daggerfall is an amazing game that I wish they would remake. And I don't mean Skygerfall. I don't mean Daggerfall Unity. I mean, Bethesda should just invest all the money and remake Daggerfall. There, I said it. I love that game. It's my favorite of the series. There's Leaf just talking about the blood altar. Some Harry Potter books, fanfic, when some are really bored. So what is human? What is that? So Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality is an AI expert Scientific rationale submitted to... Okay. Wait, was this... Okay, so it was written by an AI expert, not written by an AI, because I've read stuff written by an AI, and that shit's that is lit batshit crazy. Like, you give an AI all the Harry Potter books to read, and then you have it write its own Harry Potter chapter. That shit is insane. Yes, that's what we're talking about, BG. And yes, we have. In fact, I think what we did was we talked about that. I think it was like during a roundtable or something years ago, a while ago, months ago. I don't know, years ago. Yeah, the Harry Potter AI. Okay, cool, very cool. AIs are better artists than humans. Well, you know, if you ever have, what's the name of the website? Does not exist, or this person does not exist, is composites of people made by AIs, and they're people that don't really exist. They're just AIs compiled photographs. We're getting way off topic. Let's get back to this. I'm gonna get yelled at by Teal later. So, where would you say is the greatest weakness? Because we've talked about the strength. What's the greatest weakness of the Elder Scrolls Nirn, the one we didn't choose? What's the greatest weakness of their laws, not their lore?
The laws?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Here's food for thought. Let's start a discussion here. Their afterlife. It's all over the damn place. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely it is. That is a pretty good weakness to talk about.
Because it's almost like your mind, as you die.
Kind of go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no set destination. You just, it all depends on, it all depends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just to sum it up in a nutshell. It all depends.
Right. It's like if you die and you're being forced in a certain place, then you go there. If you die and you're not forced, then you go where your mind wants to, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over. Oh, hey, Writhen, welcome to the stream. Yes, someone did. They gave AI a bunch of Metallica songs. Isn't really a magic punishment system. It's like magic is built for combat, but not everyday living. Are you talking about, Gryphon, the Elder Scrolls magic? Or are you talking about Harry Potter magic? I've gone to a site that makes random music. Yeah. I love when people... I'm going to assume it's Elder Scrolls because that's what I mentioned first.
Okay.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The magic in the Elder Scrolls, the magic in the Elder Scrolls is not built to live like magic in Harry Potter is. And I agree. The magic system actually is weaker in the Elder Scrolls than it is in the Harry Potter universe, because you don't use magic for anything other than killing something or unkilling something.
Yeah.
You're right. And maybe it's because it's a video game, but that's still no excuse. I really would have liked to have walked into, let's choose High Rock, because that's my favorite place. You walk into a Breton town, and not only do they have like a local healer healing someone who's injured, but a Breton blacksmith is using fire magic to make their forge hotter in order to get that steel even hotter so they can temper it. Because you got to temper your steel. Or a Breton mage using ice magic to cool refreshing drinks.
Yeah.
For, their friends. I would have loved that. Or a Breton tinkerer using lightning, shock magic to power a machine.
Yep.
Right, exactly. Why do people use torches instead of light modes? Exactly. I'm going to plug my creation for a second.
Of course. In
the tabletop system that I'm designing that we're hopefully going to start playtesting soon, we got a meeting this Saturday. You use magic in your daily life. You use, quote unquote, your magic system in your daily life as well as to blow up the bad guys. So that's how you do it. Developers, take note.
Yes.
There is restoration magic, which all guards shun you for. It's so true, Rilo. Hey, Rilo, here's a thing. In Skyrim, if you shout a beneficial shout, you still get bitched at by the guards.
Yeah, you do.
It's so not right.
They can't tell the difference.
They can't. D&D magic, yes. Old school D&D magic, man. Rythane. I remember old school, was it 2.0, I think, advanced D&D, the one that we used to play back in the day, where it's like you wake up and you meditate or you read from your book, and that's what you get for the day, Haas. Alahamora, Wingardium. Oh my god. So how do you say it? Is it Wingardium Leviosa or is it Wingardium Leviosa? Never can get that one right.
Mm.
My inner Hermione is beating me up.
Yeah, it is.
Well, also, I love Rowling's spell names. What do you think? We'll talk about that for a second.
Oh, I think they're clever puns.
Mm-hmm. It's all tongue-in-cheek, but all really well done. Watch the clip where Ron... Exactly, that's what I was thinking of, BG. I could think of a light mode would be more physically, mentally draining than a torch. Actually, Rilo, that's not the case. There's a spell, I think it's called Mage Light. It's one of the first illusion spells you can learn in Skyrim. You just cast that shit on your staff.
Yeah.
Boop.
And there it is.
Yeah, the only reason it has a duration of 30 seconds or a minute is because it's a video game, which admittedly doesn't make sense. I would like to have seen a staff that just goes clunk and it just has light. There's mods that can do that.
Yeah.
There's mods that fix a lot of that. We have about 5 more minutes. Any last thoughts you want to give, Teal?
The reason why I chose these worlds is because they've had so much done with them over the years to really build them and flesh them out. There was a lot to draw from them. Some of the newer stuff I was looking at didn't address how they came up with their rules. Or I couldn't find the rules for them. So that's why I chose these 3.
Okay. And I think those were really good choices. They're all very well established. Elder Scrolls is one of the most popular game series ever. Full Metal Alchemist is arguably one of the most popular anime series.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter is arguably one of the most popular book series. So, yeah. So let's see what we got here. So Zephyrus says, FMA happens to cover Wiccan Magicka rather well, while Harry Potter tends to only cover the more Aether Spirit-based magic. Okay. Elder Scrolls, more herbalism and cells. Okay. And D&D, more demonology and summoning. Interesting. Well, there it is.
There it
so
is.
You take a little bit here, a little bit there, and maybe you have some real world stuff you take, real world mythology and belief systems, and put that into your world. I mean, heck, a D&D cleric, when he's turning undead, is literally just performing an exorcism with one word. The turn undead power that clerics have. My God, my brain went blank. That's literally an exorcism. So, I mean, just take your inspiration from all over the world, right?
That's right.
Yeah. The Blade of Destiny game did that. You could do a ritual and you'd always have a light from your wand. There you go. No torches needed. Yeah, if you have a magic-rich world, magic lights. And if you don't have magic, then you use a torch. There, problem solved.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Or hell, if you have a magic-rich world, you can have torches if you don't have a light spell, but you can still light the torch with a little flame spell, and the torch lights up. And it makes that sound too. Sound. So, I mean, there's so many ways to do it. So, again, going back to the rules of your world, if you have a magic-rich world, use magic to solve problems other than burning up a goblin.
Yeah. Although that's kind of fun to do. It
is. Roasting goblins are great. Okay, so we are getting near the halfway point. So we're going to go to BRB. That's our be right back. And we're going to be gone for maybe about 2 to 3 minutes tops, 5 at the most. And when we come back, this screen will be gone. And instead, you'll see a Word document. And we are going to put together a world rules based off of what we just talked about. So, everyone, be right back.
All right.
Hey everyone, we're back. How are you doing? All right. So we should
I think we're ready for the second part.
You should see a page right here.
I see a page.
Yeah. So, just an FYI, Zephyros, we all are about being open here, but we do not discuss religion and politics on Studio Blue streams. It is the only hard and fast rule we have about discussion. If it is relevant to the topic at hand and relevant to the stream at hand, we can go ahead and talk about it till the day is long. But overall, religion and politics are the only things we try not to discuss, simply because it can get rather divisive, and we try to be inclusive. So, just an FYI. All right. So, let's bust some butt. So, I'm so glad I saved this work. I was terrified that I did.
Oh, good. That's the world of the dreaming goddess that y'all came up with.
The last world building time. Yep. All right, so the world of the dreaming goddess, I'm going to go over it real quick. And Teal is now in the director's seat, so she will be engaging the chat more. I'm going to be more dealing with this, but I do have an eye out on a screen over to the side. Okay, so this was a mixture of a dynamic and static in between, roughly the size of the Earth. I'm going to go over this briefly, guys, before we jump into the rules. Creation is an empire of deities that are actually super powerful, super hyper beings. Have a civil war, the emperor deity is killed, and the world is ripped asunder. His hair, which is a goddess, quote unquote, goddess, is exiled into a piece of that sundered world and creates a world itself. So if you all remember, this world was the result of a super deity, a super being, being locked inside of it. The geological timeline is the goddess is within her original world core. Magic generates the heat within the core. She struggles to free herself, play tectonic movements. I have not cleaned this up at all. Maybe I should do that next time. In order to survive, she cultivates life to feed on. Right. So what we have here is a world that was created by a goddess, which is a super being, pushed into this other world. Kind of like the Xanth demon from Xanth. So, the other god is a thing, right? There's another god. Goddess particles are basically her neurons, lucid dreams, blessed protagonists, right? Blah, 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 blah. And we have a sapient age. So, we're now going to create the rules. So this is our thesis right here, is because of the life spring and its energy influence and the interference of the outer god, this world is a complex, complete unpredictability. So, I can go ahead if I need to, and we can revisit these as are necessary. Let's go ahead and set this up. So we want to first start creating our physical laws, which is not that. All right. Physical laws. So we want to talk about the physical laws of our world. We want to talk about sciences, so physics, chemistry, gravity, time, friction, heat, that. So, when we went over this world, now, okay, for those of you who are new to the workshop, I'm going to go off of the workshop building what we've talked about. Feel free at any time to throw something out, especially if I posit a question to everyone. All right, so we have the world here that is created because the goddess is in a eternal dream. And whether she's struggling, moving, etc., it's done at a subconscious level where the goddess is just trying to survive. She feeds on the energy of the people that live there, their life force, but not in a parasitic way, more like in a symbiotic way. She pulls life force from those that live there and gives magic and stuff. So that's how we're going to build a world. So let's start with our physical world. So we have things like natural disasters, etc. Okay. This is the outer god attempting to keep the inner god, the goddess, asleep. So we want to look at our physics. We want to look at our chemistry. We want to look at our gravity. We want to look at our time. So let's start with probably the most fundamental, which is time. Time is, of course, the movement of time, past to future. All right. And that is, so we can create a day cycle here. Make it easiest for our people. And again, feel free to throw anything out you want to, chat, regarding this. 24-hour day. Let's go with a 8-day week. Why not? Just for the heck of it. And let's go with 32 days a month.
That's a nice round number.
Yeah. And then give me a quick calculation here, somebody. Let's do 13 months. Why the heck not? What's 13 times 32? I can ask Alexa. Alexa, what's 13 times 32? $416?
Yeah, 416.
So Kia says depends. What is a month here? I'm not sure what you're asking. A month here on Earth? That can be anywhere from like 28 to 31. It's not consistent. We're building it consistent here for simplicity's sake. In this world, we're saying 32 days a month. So 24-hour day, 8-day week. This is arbitrary. I'm just pulling something out. If anyone has a better idea or wants to pull a math based off of the background of the world, if anyone remembers us doing this in the previous workshop,
yeah,
feel free to toss something out. Toss something out. Anything? Okay, I'm gonna go. So yeah. This is arbitrary. So I picked something out arbitrarily. If you want to pick something out arbitrarily, or if you want to apply some sort of numerical code or numerology or science behind it, or actually mathematically figure out how long your planet would take to rotate and revolve, you go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with being arbitrary, but there's also nothing wrong with having a science behind it. Because in the end, unless you're doing something that's a hard sci-fi storyline, most of your readers aren't going to worry about how long it takes for your planet to rotate around its axis.
Right.
How long this... Weeks are arbitrary, by the way. Months are a lunar cycle on our world, so this would assume one moon, or one main moon and then some minor moons. So, in this regard, in fact, I think let's go ahead and skip this. Let's go to the cosmological model. No, I'm in an 8-day week. I arbitrarily picked it out. Let's make the cosmological model. That'll make it a lot easier.
Okay.
I really think we should start with this. Cosmological model. There we go. I said mode. Cosmological model. Let's start this over. Okay, here we go. So let's have it be, let's go. Yeah, we're going to do this. All right.
Okay.
Let's say heliocentric.
Got it.
So we have a heliocentric model. So that means the planet rotates around a star.
How many stars do you have?
Let's have a binary system. I want a binary system. Binary system. And let's give 2 moons. There, we are going to rip the fucking tides insane.
Oh, wow. The tides are going to be...
In fact, no, let's go to 3 moons. Let's go to 3. 3 moons. So the tides here in this world are going to be insane. So this actually helps build the outer god mythos, right?
Yeah.
The outer god being the other hyper being that's trying to keep the goddess asleep so that she can't ascend to empresshood. So now we have a binary system, which the reason we have a binary system is this. A binary system creates a longer orbit around the 2 stars because it's actually the surf seasons exactly, Kia. In a binary system, the 2 stars, unless one star is like a black hole, actually, even if it is a black hole, the 2 stars go around a common central point.
Yeah,
if it's a black hole, it just so happens that that common central point's really close to the event horizon. But otherwise, they just kind of dance around each other. And then all the planets dance around that point as well. So in our solar system, it's one point, the sun. In a binary system, it's what's between the common mass of those 2 star systems. Really fantastic, fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So 3 moons. And we're going to have one revolves every 32 days. There. That's the basis of our month now. Because a month is based off of a lunar cycle on our world.
Yeah.
You would do the same on your fictional world. Now, you can change that. That's fine, but make sure you define it to your player. So if a month is, based off of every time a volcano farts, then you make sure you state that very early on in your story that that thing is what determines what a month is. A certain time of year she goes REM. Exactly, Ventus. Yeah, we'll get there. So 3 moons. So one revolves every 32 days. The other's less. Boom. There is our month cycle. A week is when the tiny moon hides behind the large moon. There you go. I would assume so, Kia. If you have 3 things, if it's concentric, they will. If 3 rotating, yes, if 3 moons are revolving around one planet, and they're in concentric orbit, they will eventually align.
Yeah. Well.
They will. So there we go. Boom. 32. So there, I've already created a rule now. I like Gryphon's rule. So Gryphon says that least is 8 days. So now we've created our second rule.
Okay.
And it's bass-ackwards. And I apologize for that, but is aight. So we started with our cosmological model, and now from here.
Oh, right. Yeah, the solar eclipses.
Right.
You know it.
Oh, yeah. Imagine those solar eclipses.
Epic.
Mm-hmm. A corona. Actually, could you truly have a solar eclipse with 2 stars and 3? I guess it's possible. If it's all on the same, plane, it is possible. But damn. Okay. So to kind of bring everybody up to snuff, because I started out a little backwards. In building the cosmological model, what I've done is I've used the moons as the main track of non-annual time. That's non-yearly time.
Yeah.
So one of the moons, the biggest one, revolves 32 days. That's how I got my months. Okay. Triple eclipse. There you go. And then the least one is 8 days. So you can have the one in the middle be anywhere between 32 and 8. So that's how I got my weeks. So now I'm able to continue to work backwards and say after every 13 biggest moon revolutions is about the same as the planet revolving, good heavens, around the sun. There. Okay, got it. So now that I have this number right here, again, it's arbitrary, but I'm creating my rule set. And 32 times 13 is how I got this number right here. So in order to create this physical law, in order to create this rule, I needed to have a model that supported it. And then I just kind of filled in the blanks. This right here is independent in the sense that it could be 12, because some planets rotate really, really fast. Others rotate really slow. Like, for example, the planet Mercury, I believe its day is longer than its year. Figure that one out.
Right.
Gryphon. What does Gryphon say?
For an eclipse, the moon would need to be visibly the same size as the sun.
Right. It just so happens that, for example, Luna, our moon, is the same size as Sol. At the distance, it is. So when you're looking at Luna passing in the moon passing in front of the sun, it's just the right size to cause an eclipse. If the moon was any further away or any smaller, it wouldn't cause that. So I guess technically, since the moon is going further away every year, eventually the moon will not be able to cause a full eclipse. I wonder.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to take, though. I have never actually calculated that or looked that up on Google.
Gerva is curious that if this world is going to have some funky seasons.
It will. It would have to. When you have that much tidal, So let's see. Assuming that the world is tilted on its axis, which I'm okay with assuming that. You're going to have a summer or winter depending upon what hemisphere is being touched by the rays of the suns. So you're going to have a more intense summer and a more intense winter, simply because of solar bombardment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But also because you have three moons tugging in different directions and different points. Your weather's going to be chaotic as hell, which is okay. It's keeping with the story we're making. And your seasons are going to have a very, I wouldn't say a very stark transition, but it's going to be very notable when you have a wet season. Monsoon season is going to suck for people. Get hit with it.
You know, and think about this. If you have two suns, you may not even have a nighttime.
Well, it depends on where you are, right? If you are, for example, I mean, that's a very good point, Teal. But let's say that, for example, I'm going to use these crappy ass thing here. Here's one sun.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another sun.
Mm-hmm.
If your planet's orbit is way out here in the habitable zone, it's always going to go around here, unless you're, tidally locked, which is tidally locked. Unless you're locked, where this side's always going to face the suns, then yeah, you will have a day and a night. But if this is locked, then this side right here that's always facing the suns will always be day, and this sun right here will always be night. And that is something to consider.
You gotta consider, does your planet rotate?
Does your planet have a rotation? Is it locked? Are your moons tidally locked like our moon is?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they not? These are important things to notice. For an eclipse, the moon might have a damn sun, might not be cold winter. Well, that's also true, Kia. Depending on how the suns move, right. The planet is flat. I don't know if that would support the atmosphere necessary to do the story we're trying to tell. Since you require gravity to do a thing. That's also important, Kia. Yes, are there other planets? Because that would not only factor into other gravitational pulls, but it would factor into any astrological belief system.
Correct.
Yeah. So these are all important. So
yeah.
We haven't even
I'm just thinking about the hard and fast things like gravity, friction, heat.
Mm-hmm. We haven't even gotten that far, guys. This is great.
Yeah.
So please keep these questions, keep these positings coming.
This is good.
This is what we try to do during these creator classrooms. Amen to that. All right. So let us continue. Give me a second here. I just have to adjust a little thing. Okay. All right. So, let's put more planets out there. I like Kia. So let's say that it has, imagine the cosmos-based religions you could create with 3 moons. Totally. Like, that is for me. Let me go ahead and sidetrack for a second. One of my things that criminally the Elder Scrolls universe does bad. It has 2 moons. They are beautiful big moons. And there's, my knowledge, other than like the Khajiit, there's no real religion, correct me if I'm wrong, Teal or audience, other than the Khajiit, there's no real religions associated with the moons. And that never sat right with me. Most of the older world religions, and some of our new age ones, belief systems, etc., do focus on the moon. The sun too, right?
Right.
I mean, crap, the Mayans believed that you had to do certain things for the sun to even rise. So, yeah, you have 2 stars, 3 moons. There's damn well going to be some religions. That's absolutely okay. So let us move on.
Yeah, it's just Master and Secunda. They don't really have anything to do.
Yeah, they just right. I think it's just the Khajiit.
Yeah.
Which is wrong. Okay.
Oh, let's move on to what else we're going to put in here.
Cosmological model. Let's. So now my question is, so we have other planets. Let's let's throw out some gas giants out there. Now, they're not close, and here's why they're not close. Beyond habitable zone. Maybe we can have something in the habitable zone. What do you guys think? Do we have another planet in the habitable zone? That might be where the outer god is. You know, the evil planet where the good guys have to go at the end. So gas giants beyond the habitable zone. Now here's the thing too, also, sci-fi beautiful pictures aside. Jupiter is visible in the night sky as a sort of a shining star off in the distance, as is Venus. Venus is obviously brighter, closer. If Jupiter or any other planet was close enough for us to actually see it, we would be fucked. So,
because that's based on the forces that are exerted by the planet.
Yes, Jupiter has a lot of gravity.
Yes, it does.
Unless we want to say magic, and we can say we can do some magic here, like the magic of the super beings. I think it's safe that the gas giants be beyond the right view. You know, they're just not right there.
Yeah.
Because, again, but that's the science in me. If we want to go ahead and wave the magic wand, somebody say something in chat. But now the question is do we put a planet out there in the habitable zone? Do we put another planet out there in the zone for us to see? Maybe another, Earth 2. Anything big definitely can't be close. Thank you, Kia. Exactly. Like, you would have to wave some serious metaphysical BS otherwise. But you're right.
Yeah.
But we could potentially have a companion planet not be too far away. Heck, we toyed with. Now, we didn't go this route, but we could have also had the main planet be a gas giant and this be a moon around it. Star Wars does that in Return of the Jedi, the forest moon of Endor.
That's true.
Endor is actually a gas giant. But we're not doing that. We're going Earth-sized planet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that there is another Earth-like planet. Oh, here we go. On the this is the hyper being fit. On the other side of this Earth's orbit. So the beings of this world, this Earth, this world's orbit. So the beings can't see this world, but this is where the outer god is.
Okay.
Because remember, they're not really gods, they're not really goddesses, they are to the people of the world, but they're basically super, advanced hyper being. So now we have a place where the outer god is. Remember, we talked about the outer god has meteors and other natural disasters that, he tosses at to keep the goddess busy. Well, now we know he's hanging out. He's hanging out on another planet. So he's figuring out how to throw meteors from his planet all the way on the other side of orb. Oh my god, he's literally laying mines. So he'll be on his area and he'll be like, I'm going to bombard this other world over here to keep the goddess asleep. Let me start this up. And then it passes through the quote-unquote keyhole in which it's guaranteed to do a collision, and then it hits the world. That is some high-tech awesome shit, man. I can imagine the final dungeon of this game being this amazing, like, high-tech, super, like, beyond Final Fantasy high-tech level.
Sweet.
Awesomeness. Like, I'm talking like what the Tower of Stala should have been at the end of that game.
Oh, yeah.
It was just crazy-ass shit. Oh, God. Somebody designed this game. Okay. So that's the cosmological model. I'm not going to go any further in the solar system because we can talk about, where it is in the galaxy and all of that, and that's not be fun stuff. But that would be more of, so I'll just write it down halfway to the galactic core. Actually, this is actually an important thing right here. Halfway to the galactic core. There we go. So you're going to have a very bright sky. Lots of nebulous, lots of brightness.
Very bright, active sky.
Very bright, active sky. Because, we're out in the boondocks of the Milky Way and we don't see shit, even though we have a gorgeous night sky if there's no light pollution. But if you're that close to a galactic core, you're going to see all kinds of happy stuff. And there's Steele saying, I'm not going to do something related to world building, and then he does it. So a very beautiful, bright, active night sky.
Cool.
All right, let's move to our physical laws. We're gonna get there one day. Okay, so that's our time. I'm sticking to it, so we don't. Oh my God, it's already 8. Imagine magical space travel to that core. That's what I'm screaming. Like, this could go from like Spelljammer to Space Jammer real quick.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be okay with that. There's not enough good blends of magic and sci-fi, fantasy and sci-fi. They don't, a lot of properties don't do it as well as I think they should. So anyway, that's a rant for another day. More physical laws. Gravity is far. I mean, okay, so the reality is this.
Yeah.
You're going to have lots of storms, lots of harsh and abrupt weather conditions due to gravity. We're going to assume Earth-like gravity because honestly, now here's the truth. You can go ahead and have your gravity be higher or lower, and you can develop your story based on that. And you should. So if you have a lower gravity world, beings are going to be taller. Their bone structure is not going to be as strong because they're used to living in a low gravity environment. People, creatures, life evolves to deal with its surroundings. A higher gravity world, beings are going to be squatter. They're going to be thicker, stronger, move closer to the ground. A fantastic example of that is, I think, the Ilroy. They're the elephant-like creatures from Mass Effect. Fantastic. Higher gravity world. They're very squat, elephant-like creatures.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then you have like the jellyfish-style characters, which come from a lower gravity world. So keep that in mind. I'm going with Earth-like gravity simply because I want to keep it simple for the sake of the workshop. So with a Earth-like gravity on our planet, 3 moons, 2 suns, and a partridge in a pear tree, this world is going to see all kinds of happy shit. Yeah, them space jellies, man.
Jellies.
Dude, I need to finish that series one day. There's too many games I have not played.
But these laws set up for everything else. Okay,
yes.
They're going to determine what sort of animals you have and plant life and even how sentient beings develop.
Yes.
The humans of this world may not be the same physiological speaking as we are because of the forces pulling on this world.
They are. Absolutely. And we need to take that into account. Which again, jumping back to the other world that we talked about in our lecture. Harry Potter's Earth is our Earth. Ergo, just Harry Potter, humans with wands. Amestris from Full Metal Alchemist is assume our world. We can't make the exact assumptions here. And Elder Scrolls says, oh, well, all of that's fixed because our cosmological model is Herbert.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that here. We've created a cosmological model that is very realistic. And this is life could be like this. I don't know how life would exist like that.
Yeah.
But, when I get that message back from Mr. Tyson, Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he can tell me how that works. I don't know. I don't know how life would exist. But I'm going to assume that it's basic enough that it can be. And I'm going to say that life will be physically similar to Earth, but with stronger reactions to the moon's tidal forces.
Yes.
Because you're not going to feel as much of the tidal forces of your stars. Those are very, very far away. If you're in the habitable zone, you're very far away.
Yeah, that they wouldn't be turning that much.
But you would. Now, again, I'm not going to get too off track here because we're talking about physical laws and not metaphysical. But the pull of our moon on us is something we do feel In fact, they even had a name for it at once. They used to blame people going nuts over the moon. They called it lunacy. We know that's not the case now, but you do feel a tidal effect on you. So you're going to feel a stronger tidal effect on this world. Now, how that influences your world and its people is up to you. If you want to go the route that the gravitational waves of these 3 moons affect people's psychology and their brains, you go right ahead. Make sure you put that in your world building so people will know that's the direction you're going in. If it influences their magic, which is where we're going to go, then you can go ahead and put that in. So whatever you want your gravity to affect, put it down, write it, and stick to that rule. So here we're going to say these tidal forces affect magical abilities and potency, because that's the direction we're going in. Now we can go ahead and go into chemistry, physics, the usual. We'll just say chemistry, because chemistry and physics are kind of a catch-all. Chemistry and physics. So here's where we also have to take a look at the cosmological model of the world. This is a world that is going to get a lot of solar energy.
Yes,
and get a lot of heat.
2 stars.
2 stars, and especially if they're bigger than our yellow star. You know, if one of them's like a red giant or a super giant.
Oh my.
Well, if it's super giant, we're all screwed. It's gonna go supernova. But if it's a larger star, as opposed to like a red dwarf, it's going to put out a lot more heat. And you're going to have a lot more of that solar radiation. Dim deserts. Thank you. Due to the high amounts of solar radiation, the terrain in this world gets very stark in its variance. You can go from plains to wet desert. The desert. Because almost type desserts. You can tell what I want. You can go from plains to desert, mountains to wetlands in a matter of miles. I'm going to put miles in quotes because we don't have to call them miles. We're calling them miles for the sake of world building. Okay, so there you go. So, yeah, big ass, dry, arid deserts, sometimes even salt flats. Wetlands where it's just all the water collected into one basin because it doesn't know where else to go with itself. Plains that roll on, and they go really quickly, very quickly. All right, now I believe that is going to be it for that.
I think we've got enough down there.
We do.
To
get started.
With the other section.
Exactly. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into metaphysics. Here's where we get to have some real
fun. That's going to be a lot of fun.
So, keep in mind that this, I'm misspelling metal. It's metaphysical. Metal physical.
Is that like metal slimes?
It's like Death Clock. Yes, metal slimes and Death Clock. In fact, somebody do that. Somebody draw a Nathan Explosion slime.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
Go ahead and go to a new page. All right.
So the metaphysical.
Yes, metaphysical laws. So remember, this world is the result of a hyper advanced being called a goddess, trapped in its core. Her neurons firing off that cause all these various things also give the magic. Her existence gives magic. So everything from magic to psychic to chi to energy all comes from this goddess and is exacerbated by the tidal forces of the moon. Now, we're building the metaphysical laws and the physical laws of this world. The people, the denizens of this world, which we'll get into a different world building workshop, may not know any of this. So keep in mind, even though we're saying the 3 moons, influence magical ability, no one on the world needs to know that. We, the designer, needs to know that. So let's start with our
we need to know everything.
Right. And we need to know why it's caused that way. Then we can have the player, the reader, etc., either learn that or not. But the people, the denizens of that world, will know what we want them to know. So maybe the denizens of this world never realize there's a god. Maybe they never realize there's 3 moons. That's fine. They can still cast fireball. Okay, magic. Energy from the goddess seeps through everything in the world and allows magic to be used by everyone. Now again, guys, if y'all want to throw out a suggestion, please do so. I will absolutely change what I'm writing based on, good solid feedback. These energy fluxes are, as stated before, my god, I'm writing in World Anvil again, modified by the tidal forces. I forgot how to spell tidal for a second there. Total tidal forces of the 3 moons. As the moons get closer to the world in their elliptical orbit. Look at me pulling that out.
There you go.
Elliptical orbits. That's not how you spell elliptical. That's how you spell elliptical. The gravity gets stronger, as does the magic. There, boom. So now we've created this law here where this energy coming from the goddess gives magic. Magic goes through everything. She's sleeping. She's still sleeping, Ventus. She hasn't woken up.
She's sleeping within the world.
Right. She is in the core.
Yeah, she's in the core. We're trying to define the actual world itself.
Yes. We're defining how magic works, saying that it is from the sleeping goddesses. I'll call her sleeping goddess, since apparently that is. It's a good time to be reminded. There we go. Energy from the sleeping goddess seeps through everything in the world and allows magic to be used by everyone. So everyone in this world can use magic. So we've now created this. Everyone in this world uses magic. These energy fluxes are, as stated before, modified by the tidal forces of 3 moons. As the moons get closer, gravity gets stronger, as does magic.
So I guess as a corollary, it seems that the magic prevents the world from just getting ripped apart by all these forces.
You could say that. In fact, let's go ahead and put that underneath magic energy, and we're just throwing out words here. Don't matter. It's all categories.
Yeah.
So this magic energy from high tide is high magic. Exactly, Kia. From the sleeping goddess keeps the world from being torn apart. Now, let's be realistic. Unless one of those moons is either a black hole or a super massive moon, you're not going to tear your world apart normally by moon. Normally. I say that because that's not how astronomy works. It happens all the time, and the universe is very violent. But under normal circumstances, once a stable orbit has been achieved by a moon or moons around a planet, things are pretty much good for a while. What we could say here is that torn apart, in air quotes, means the surface getting rended.
Okay, got it.
So that means, like, for example, if we didn't have the magic keeping everything kosher, the goddess energy keeping everything kosher, the 3 moons tides would have typhoons raising the land. Coastal, changes would be all over the place. You wouldn't be able to have a civilization there because the world would just be too violent. Keeps the world from being torn apart. The surface rendered useless. by weather and tide. So the magic is powered by sleeping goddess energy and forces of the three moons. No, Ventus. It is powered by the sleeping goddess and modified by the three moons. So the planet would have been in... Yes, exactly. Which is actually in keeping with the original world building we did like a month ago. So, yeah. Yeah, we are on track here, on target. All right, let us continue along metaphysical rules. So, let's add in a complication here. Let's add in a thing. Chi. Okay? We're going to add in some chakra. I think that's from Naruto. I don't know. I said chakra because that's Naruto. But we're going to add in, or is that Jutsu? You know what? It doesn't matter. Chi. That's what we're calling it. Chi. Chi, otherwise known as Chi. All right, Chi. Here we go. Because of life existing, that's what it does. Life existing with the sleeping goddess for so long, every life form has started to evolve to generate smaller, on a cosmic scale, amounts of the same type of energy.
Okay.
So, over time, life on this planet has started to generate its own quote-unquote goddess particle. Not nearly the level. Remember, cosmic scale is cosmic scale.
Okay.
Okay, I can generate a lot of force by going outside and slicing my katana through a watermelon. Enough force to cut the watermelon, right? I'm not going to generate nearly the amount of force as, for example, a bomb or a large, one of those large landscaping things hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Which is not going to generate nearly the amount of force as a plate tectonics to plates hitting or fault cracking.
Oh,
which is not going to generate nearly the amount of force as if a giant asteroid hit this world or the moon collided, which is not even close to the amount of force of a supernova explosion. So when I say cosmic, I mean the amount of goddess particles that these people generate inside of them is a lot for them, but is minuscule compared to the sleeping goddess on a planetary level.
Right.
So everyone on the world loves naps. Naps are fantastic.
Loves naps.
So, this chi allows people to create their own unique abilities outside of the goddess's magic and the pull of the three moons. Therefore, even when a person cannot use magic effectively, they can still use their chi. These chi abilities are personal to each individual in accordance to their belief, perception, etc. Now I gotta know, how strong of a magic can they harness? Don't know. That's a good question, Kia.
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. We're gonna go into that next. Let's go magic versus chi versus goddess.
Yeah.
So now we need to create that rule. Now, is this an exact thing that Teal has on the list she gave us? No, but the question that you presented, Kia, can be solved at this stage right now, or it could be held off later. I don't have a problem solving this right here, right now, because we have all the relevant information in front of us to make that decision. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, if someone wants to throw something out, that's fine. I love the concept that Kia made. So let's say this. Above all the energy of the goddess is the strongest. Or go her dreams and the neurons that make those goddess particles from her can influence the world on a planetary scale.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, I just created a great plot twist on this one. A great
Actually,
idea.
you
Great
did.
idea. Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
So, idea. Certain people can influence, good heavens, influence the dreams of the goddess. I'm just going to call her the goddess now. To change the world on potentially a fundamental level. Them Freddy Kruegers. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go ahead and fix this right here. That's not a spot. Interplay. The planetarium. Planetary. There you go.
Yeah.
And world. I knew I'd get it sooner or later. Okay. So this is an idea. This is a random idea that we could have like super mages or like, you know, dream walkers or dream shifters, that kind of thing. And
Okay, so Reverie is starting to see a possible minor antagonist with very strong chi that rejects the goddess powers and is at the height of power at night, especially when the moons start to align.
that's a really good idea, Reverie.
That is a great idea.
You could, because when when we get to the religious aspect, which is part of civilization, you know, how people view the religions of their world, the spirituality, the belief systems, you're going to have people who go against the system. And we should name him Alucard.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously though, and welcome to the stream, Rever, if I didn't say that already. When you start building the civilization part, you're going to have people that buck the system, that go, no, this is wrong, we need to change it. And that's how you create a good antagonist. Someone who looks at the system, says, no, we're going to change this, but what they're doing makes them counter to the protagonist. Remember the golden rule of antagonists? They are simply the person whose goals are the opposite or antagonizing towards the protagonist.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the bad guy. Okay. Magic from the goddess particles. Particles. The ones that are influenced by the 3 moons are strong or weak depending on 1, the phase of the moons, 2, the alignment of the moons, 3, the proximity to those, what are they called? They're like fissures. Yeah, fissures. To those fissures. And, pardon me, the mental discipline and of the spellcaster. There we go. Oh my gosh. Of the spellcaster. So to answer Kia's early question, you can harness a lot of magic if certain things are there. You know, you have these different parameters. The phase of the moon, the alignment, the proximity to one of those fissures where the goddess particles are busting out, and like you have like cold lava and shit. That we talked about that during World Building 1. And the mental discipline of the spellcaster. Chi, on the other hand, is reliant. I spell reliant. Aha. Solely upon the discipline of the user. So you could have that minor antagonist chi user person. Hey, I've spent years honing my chi. Years. And he's stronger than most spellcasters. In fact, he can kill like a major spellcaster. You could have like the mentor of the protagonist gets killed by the antagonist's chi powers, stuff like that, you know. What's Kia saying? So, oh, right, exactly. Exactly.
Dreamwalker.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call them, Dreamwalkers. They are now officially Dreamwalkers.
Yeah.
Cool. There it is. All right. So that is our metaphysical rules. And this is
That's pretty robust, actually.
This is really interesting. This is really interesting. I'm actually liking this world more and more the more we work on it. Okay. Now let's talk about the supernatural. Now we can have some fun. Because nothing we have done so far has pushed us in the realms of ghosts. But it's pushed us in the realms of God.
Definitely we have deities, a pantheon, well.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about that. Now, here's the difference. We're not talking about the civilized religions and the worship.
No.
That is later. That is during world building 3 or 4 when we start talking about civilizations and actual religion. Right now we're talking about actual deities. So we have one. We have the sleeping goddess. But do we want to do other things? Let's take the Aedra into account. The Aedra and the Daedra came into existence because of the interactions between the primal forces of Anu and Padme, which are often personified. There's also Magnus to take into account. Those are truly gods. As if they wanted to, they could wipe resistance away.
Oh, yeah.
The sleeping goddess is truly a god in the sense that if she wanted to, if she woke up, if she was malicious, which she's not, she's a good little goddess, she could wipe out all life on this world. So let's take a step away from our goddess. What if these emanations of energy, these particles, these goddess particles, these things that come from her as she dreams, create beings that are super powerful? To her, they're nothing more than, you know, an aspect, a piece,
right,
a dream, as it were. But to humans, they're gods, or godlike, like the Aedra and the Daedra are. Remember, Daedric Prince, Yuggorath, might as well be a god to the people of Nirn.
Correct.
To Anu, Padme, to Magnus, is not shit. Does the outer god count? Let's keep that out for now. Let's just keep that out for now, Reverie. Yes. We don't eventually want to talk about the outer god because it's an antagonistic force, but let's go away from that for 1 second and focus just on the world incumbent.
So creatures perhaps just formed from her night.
Ooh, that's such a good idea. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but I like it. I'll put that down here. Monsters, goddess, night, mares. Rar. Okay.
So deities is the goddess.
Let's say this, and I want to hear from our chat as well as you, Teal. Would it be aspects of herself, like dreams of herself, like parts of, you know, her bravery, her sadness, her love? Would those be, you know, those pieces, or, you know, dreams of that? Or would it be just various dreams she has in general would be God? You know, what would create this pantheon that Teal was talking about?
Okay, chat. Put your thinking caps on. Let's do this.
Let's get some ideas generated. Let's make this one interactive. How does... Now, remember, to us, we know this is just a minor thing in comparison to the actual sleeping goddess, but to the denizens of the worlds, this will be their Daedric princes, their Aedra. These will be their gods. What are they really? Are they, you know, her positive and her negative thoughts, and that's our Aedra and her Daedra, whatever you want to call it? Are they, you know, her visions of herself, you know, how she views herself, parts of her id, her ego, her superego? What are these? So, I will go ahead.
Take a moment. Take a sip of water. I want to hear from chat.
Right. I'm just getting this set up to do other things.
Past. It can be from her past, present, or future.
Interesting.
So you've got a time element in there.
Well, when you are immortal and sleeping.
Yeah. There's no time.
There is no time.
Ceases to exist.
Mm-hmm. And believe me, when you slept for a long period of time, you do wake up utterly disoriented.
Yeah, you're not talking too much. You're fine.
Very welcome. Very welcome. I mean, and if you're the only person who responds, then your idea gets used.
Yep. Or she was, is, or will be.
Okay. The goddess peacekeepers, the goddess can prevent the world from destroying itself from her nightmares. Ooh, I like that. So we got 2 layers here. All right, we're gonna marry these 2.
Okay, got it.
Thank you so much, Kia and Reverie. All right, so the primary triad of goddesses are the sleeping goddess's views of herself in the past, the present, and the future. Oh my god, it's like I'm a goddess with Skuld, Erd, and Beldandy.
Yeah.
It's funny as hell. You got that vivid imagination. Mm-hmm. They are self-reflections of where she has been, is now, and will be. Cool. So that's your primary god. That's your primary 3 god.
Okay.
But, however, her positive dreams create, I'll call those the peacekeepers. Similar in concept to guardian angels. They don't always have to be flappy flappies.
Right.
That protect the world and the life upon it from the monsters of her nightmares. I really like this idea.
Sweet, that's a good one.
Monsters. Yeah. The goddess's nightmares as the outer god bombards her, as well as from the trauma of losing her father, become the monsters that attempt to harm the world and the people upon it.
Wow. Yeah.
The greater the nightmare, the greater the monster.
Makes
her
sense.
Strongest nightmares are the evil gods that the denizens of the world fear. Things like her despair, rage, and sorrow. Sorrow is fair. Self-hate.
Or jealousy,
or envy. Would she envy?
What's that?
Would she envy? That's a good question.
What would she envy?
Would she? I'm asking you. Would the goddess actually envy? Or would she be jealous of other gods? Would she be jealous of freedom?
Maybe she's jealous or resentful.
Resentment.
She's resentment, yeah.
There you go.
Because of her predicament.
There you go. And by the way, guys, this is something that Teal and I do a lot of times. One of us will throw out a word, the other one will go, do you really mean that? And then from there, we'll choose the right word, because English language sucks.
Yeah, it's too many words.
Too many words. But that is something that we'll do on a regular basis. So if you have yourself, you can do that with, or if you have a partner who you can bounce ideas off of, it is a great idea to go, is that the right word? And then the two of you go back and forth until you pick the exact right word to describe something. It is a lot of fun. She might.
Yeah,
but
she might.
But we're going to say resentment because at this time, resentment is born from that human. You know, so she envies those without her burdens, which is like, oh my God, all you people out there, you don't have these burdens on, you don't have this world on your shoulders. I resent you. When she first fell asleep, she had a nightmare. The original monster tried to devour her, then a creator, the first peacekeeper. There you go.
Yeah.
Good idea, Reverie. Good idea, human. Good idea, everybody. All right, things like her despair, rage, and resentment are the... Oh, that's we already talked about that. So that goes here. There we are. Look at that. Okay. So now we have creatures. And these are normal, I say in quotes.
Yeah, normal.
living things that have evolved, because you got to have evolution.
Yeah.
Evolved naturally upon the world over time. Because if you have an ecosystem and you have life, sooner or later that life is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that changes somewhat due to the magical energies that are there, it's still going to change. Life is not stagnant.
No. Not in this world. No.
Not anywhere.
It's constantly in
Right,
flux.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. All right. Hey, the light just turned on. Oh, that's downstairs. Okay. So now I think we're moving on to spirits, which is something we haven't tackled yet. Yeah, spirits, which is still under supernatural. So now we got to talk about things like that. Ghost. Is there an afterlife? We have gone through this entire scenario. Now, we're not going to talk about the afterlife, but
No.
we need to talk about, is there an afterlife? Because if there is an afterlife, there will be ghosts. If there is no afterlife, there will be no real ghosts. It'll be like Harry Potter, where it's mnemonic ghosts. You know, memory impressions. And that, again, is going to be opened up to chat and Peel to talk it through while I wet my whistle.
Okay. So what would be the purpose of your spirit? Are you just going to have them wander about? Are they supposed to be helping with guarding? There's got to be some point to them, even if it's just they wander about a set track.
Right.
Yeah, it depends on how Pierce is. It depends on how death is handled. Like, is there a full stop, you're dead, or is there reincarnation? And Human says, if the world came from a dream, I imagine spirits should have had to be people who made a lasting impression on the dreamer.
That is amazing.
Like a
Human.
recurring dream.
That is amazing.
I like that one.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's... I'm going to have a comment that I'm going to make at the very, very end of this before we go to credits, but that has nothing to necessarily do with this. It's just in general about this whole world. But that was amazing. Yes. The spirits and ghosts. So yes, to answer Kia's question, it's now a full stop. Spirits and ghosts of this world are the impressions the person left upon the sleeping goddess during their lifetime.
Wow.
The stronger the impression, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going with it?
Yeah.
The more powerful the spirit. There is no existence after death. Death is the end.
Perfect. Yeah.
I love it. The goddess takes energy from people, so she takes the spirit when people die. Well, that is true. So we're going to build on that. Gryphon's idea. When a person dies, their spiritual essence is pulled into... Oh my God. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait till you see what... Oh my God. Okay, I do this sometimes when I'm world building. I start freaking out over just how it's coming together. Pulled into the goddess to become a part of her. AKA, this is the very sustenance that the goddess consumes
Whoa.
to survive.
Whoa. Boy, that puts her in a whole different light.
This being is benevolent,
Yeah.
but it still has to eat.
So now we've developed a symbiotic relationship.
Yes. The relationship. I gotta bold this when I'm done.
Yeah.
The relationship between the sleeping goddess and
Human form.
the denizens of the world is one of oh my god. This relationship between the sleeping goddess and the denizens of the world is one of farmer and food.
Yeah.
So, this is not the first property. Okay?
No.
This is not the first IP that's done this. There's another IP that's exceedingly famous in the video game world that has a creature that does this. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just tap this out here because this is we just made Lavos.
Ah, God.
It's a benign Lavos.
Yeah.
It's a nice Lavos. It's a happy, pretty, kind Lavos. But it's a Lavos nonetheless because it cultivates life upon it planet in order to eat it.
Wow.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Okay, but I do want to say this. Subnote: the goddess is not malicious.
Yeah.
She is just trying to survive. I'm just making that as a statement there.
Yeah, kind of had to have that statement there.
We don't have Fem Lavos. Somebody's gonna rule 36 that.
I think so.
Or 63 or whatever. It's crazy. Take a moment. Oh. God, I love these workshops, man. I do love these. We come up with the craziest shit. Okay, now let's talk about otherworldly. Suddenly the sleeping god ain't so bad. Of the other god. Okay. The outer god is just an asshole. He is engineering all sorts of disaster.
Oh yeah.
God, I'm
He
laughing
never
so hard.
sleeps either.
I know.
He doesn't sleep at all.
He's engineering all sorts of disasters to keep the sleeping goddess in a nightmare state. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
He occasionally sends super beings he creates to the world to cleanse any overpopulation that would normally give the goddess enough food to awaken.
Uh-huh.
But what if when people does guys she gains power, wouldn't he want to keep people alive? Well, that's the thing is she consumes it and then she uses it to eat. I'm answering your question there, Gryphon. So when she consumes life, she uses most of it to survive and puts a little extra in her store power to awaken. So if the population of the planet is below a certain amount, he won't wake up. That's why the otherworldly being, that's why the outer god is doing what he's doing.
Yeah, that explains that.
That's the world builder's answer to this question. But that is a very good question, Gryphon, and that is what you have to, as a world builder, come up.
Yeah.
So,
And she does need mature souls.
if
The fine wine of souls.
the goddess gets enough, if the world has enough living energy entities, good God, entities, then the goddess could consume them all and awaken. Ugh,
Yeah.
dark damn story. So her goal is to hit the X million population mark
Yeah.
and then murder them all. Oh my God, this world is so fucked.
Yeah, it is.
It's
That's
like,
great.
choose your poison. Do you fight against Zagor from Final Fantasy Legends 3, or do you fight against Creator from Final Fantasy Legends 1? Fuck it, I'll choose the Arsenal. I mean, this is just insane. It's an interesting story. I ain't gonna lie. All right, let's go to the afterlife.
Which we kind of answered.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's do something with this, though. Yes, there you go. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna put that there. Sterilization of the populace. Well, according to our earlier one too, just keep in mind, he can't kill her. He doesn't want to kill her. He just wants to keep her in a coma forever. So keep that in mind. So he can't destroy her. Actually, in a way, this is kind of like Sin, Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
He basically just culls their population every now and then so she doesn't get too strong. Yeah. Anyway. Afterlife. So we did kind of say, so there is no direct afterlife. But the impressions people leave, I think that's what Human said, yeah.
Yeah, leave.
People leave upon the goddess that's terrifying. I mean, what Kia just wrote about.
Yeah, very scary.
Very scary. I mean, you could have some real horror moments if you wanted to on that one, Kia. But then again, we've talked, when we get to civilization in a later world building, we might come up with some creepy ass shit. Oh, you're fine. You're fine, Kia. Don't worry about it. Trust me. There's no topic too taboo when you're building a world. There is no.
Isn't this supposed to be a dark fantasy anyway?
You know what? I don't even know anymore. Honest to God, we started this with a blank slate. Like, when we first started doing this, during World Building 1, it was literally just like, boom, that was it. That's what we started with. And then this was our chat just belching out amazing ideas.
It's good.
Oh, yeah. No, I love our chat. Studio Blue chat is best chat. You guys are amazing. All right.
Fight me.
There is an afterlife for everyone else, not on the goddess planet. There. I mean, that's fine. Yes. Right. Yes. There's no direct afterlife on the world. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the impressions people leave upon the goddess create spirits and ghosts that can directly interact with the denizens of the world.
Wait.
Does the goddess have an afterlife? The goddess is race. The goddess and the outer gods race, the hyper beings. Or are they transcended the need for an afterlife? Or are they so advanced that they're literally just conscious? Consciousness. Hey, by the way, your S's have gotten really good.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna write this down unless someone says something otherwise. The sleeping goddess, an outer god, wraith. Good God. Species have ascended beyond. This is their afterlife. Yeah. What else? What could leave people to left the planet finding out about the afterlife, learning about the God's planet is different? Which could leave to people who left the planet. Well, it's a fantasy world, Gryphon, but that might be an interesting thing during the course of story. What Gryphon's saying.
Yeah, it could.
People leave and find, wait a minute, you know, like you get like a group of the heroes leave the planet to go to the outer God's planet to go kick his ass. I don't know. I'm just pulling random shit out. And somebody dies, but then they actually do go see a tunnel or something. Yeah, you could totally do that.
Could do
My
that.
God, there is an afterlife. Why is there no afterlife on our planet? And that's how they start to figure out the goddess exists.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, I've transcended beyond life and death. Life as we know it. There. Okay.
There we go.
On other worlds, there is a life, an afterlife. Let's say an afterlife. Light, tunnel, light at end of tunnel, etc. You know, we can fill in those blanks later.
Right.
That would lead the PCs to, let me say this is a note here, because this isn't part of world building, this is more of a story note. Actually, this is not story note. That's world building. That's story note. This would lead the PCs to learn about the goddess and what she actually is about. Yes, on the ground.
Okay.
Yes, resurrection. Which, thank you for spelling that. Thank you for typing that, Gryphon, because I always misspell that. Resurrection on the world. Resurrection. Well, I like the time limit someone gave earlier.
Yeah.
Only works within a, I think it was BG was talking about it.
Yeah.
Short. Right. Period of time.
Yeah. And then after that, whoop, I'm not there.
Right. Once the soul leaves the body to go to the goddess's dinner table, the person is well and truly deaded. So that means that if character dies, then there's only a short period of time to resurrect them using raise dead or res magic.
Yeah.
If they're not rezzed within a certain amount of time, then that person is dead. Now, the other way we could go, there you go. The only other way to go would be that res magic doesn't work because the goddess doesn't allow it because of food.
True.
But I like this one better. I do. I like the idea of being. We've stacked so much against the people of this world. Let them have their raised dead after the first minute of death.
Yeah.
Let's do that. You know, we've been real bitches. So let's be nice. Okay, so this is their life, laws, and this is the actual afterlife. So here's the laws.
No returns or exchanges. Death is the final purchase.
Good times. And I think that's it.
I think that's it.
And that's it. This is a good place to stop. This is a good thing. So we're going to go add the last minute conversations, last minute questions. We did I mean, obviously we could go on and on and on, but it's a good frame to start with.
Yes, it is.
So what I want to say, and this is hilarious because this is unintentional. This is you guys throwing this out. Okay. Every time I have seen it go in this direction, I have tried to steer this world in a different way. But because of what you all have thrown out, this is not the same, but frightfully similar to the world Teal and I have been building for our fantasy tabletop RPG. It's not the same concept. It's not a sleeping goddess or anything like that.
No.
But some of the little pieces and parts are similar. like when you're dead, that kind of thing.
Right.
Not because you're getting eaten by a goddess. Totally different concept. But like some of the ways that magic kind of works and kind of some of the concepts of dreams and how dreams can be good or bad. Little things like that have made Teal and I kind of look at each other and go,
Yeah.
So, in other ways, it's completely different. But it's just kind of neat to see that you all have such vibrant imaginations. And I'm not just saying that because it's something similar to what I'm creating, what Teal and I are creating, I should say. But it's just in general, you guys have come up with some fantastic. And every last one of you who have contributed an idea in this stream have contributed to this world. So this is our world that we have created, and I am proud to be a part of it. So last minute questions, comments, etc. Because when we call it, it'll be it. And we will have a critical play on Wednesday and Thursday, right? Yes.
Right, yeah. Wednesday and Thursday.
So where's my clock? There it is. So we got about 6 more minutes. So this is the last time to kind of bring up some comments and talk a little bit more. I know we still need to fix that clock back there, don't we?
Yeah, the clock is running back.
Okay. Note to self, fix that when this is done. So yes, anyone else want to toss out an idea regarding the world building part 2? When we continue this, which will be probably in another month, see how things going, we'll pick up with the next piece of this. I believe it's civilizations, but I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to guarantee that until we know for sure.
Right.
But we still have things like civilizations, the rules of society. There's a lot, by the way. When you create a civilization, you be ready. That one is huge. That is going to be a long one. And then you got like the people themselves, the actual species,
Yes.
the races, the ethnic
races, ethnicities, all of it. Yeah.
Might be a good idea to have the doc saved up somewhere. I think I'm going to do that, Reverie.
That's a good idea.
I've got about 4 some odd pages. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it up, Reverie, and then I'm going to upload it and that onto a Google Doc.
Yeah.
And that way you all can see it. Because at this point, this has become a very interactive creation. You all have done a lot to make this into a fantastic world. And when it's finished, I wouldn't mind seeing someone take this and running with it. But I'd like to see it finished first, obviously But this is the studio. This is our community has created it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, Reverie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything on your end, Teal?
I just want to say that this is a really awesome world that you guys have created and fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
You truly do get really good world through multiple heads.
Oh yes, absolutely. Brainstorming, crowd brainstorming.
Yes.
Crowdsourcing ideas is one of the best ways to create amazing ideas. Whether it be this world right here or the infamous gun that shoots guns that shoots flaming pitchforks.
Flaming pitchforks.
Best weapon ever. There's a story behind that. Ask us during an AMA one night.
We will have to put that in somewhere.
What was it? That was also the same one that came up with the convention for monsters.
Yes.
So you had like the creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and his son at the convention.
That's really cool.
Fantastic idea. Oh my god, that was so good.
What about a goldfish coming out of the barrel of a gun holding a door?
God bless those two. That was beautiful.
I haven't forgotten that one.
I think one of them actually put it in one of their stories at some point. I think that was Neil. I think he actually
Neil might have.
I think Neil put it in one of his his stories. God, some of the shit that happened. Okay, so last minute questions, comments. We got about 2-3 more minutes for you guys. Anything else? Y'all want anything here we want to review? I love the freaking benevolent Lavos.
Oh, it's very a nice one.
It's a nice, gentle Lavos. It is. It won't screech at you and suck you into time.
Eh.
So insane. I love it. and we shall name her Scholar. Anyway.
You know, it's funny. It just seems to me, I might have said this before, but the goddess is always asleep, and the outer god is always awake.
Yeah. Well, that's because, you know, the sleeping goddess, she's taking the good stuff. She's taking the trazodone and the Valium, and the outer god, he's all about the caffeine.
Seriously.
We'll be covering the goddess, protagonist, antagonist. More than likely, Reverie, unless it's relevant to world building, we'll never actually get into the protagonist and antagonist. We're only going to be creating the world here. But this world, when we're done, could be used by someone to create a story with a protagonist and an antagonist. So, the outer god driving force just wanted to get some sleep. There you go. I just want a nap.
He just wants a nap.
I've drinking 300 Googleplex cups of coffee. I need to sleep.
Ooh, you pulled out the Googleplex.
That's a big number.
It is such a huge number.
So big. Oh. Anywho, yeah, that's it. That is it. Speaking of which, I think some food would be fantastic. Are we gonna have dinner tonight?
Yes, we do.
We can have dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, to anyone who's anyone who is a Slime-tastic supporter, remember we have our roundtable tomorrow at 5 o'clock Central. So that is anyone who is tier 2 Twitch sub or $10 Patreon or higher. You can join Teal and I for a personalized chat session where we chat with just those level Patreons for an hour, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. That's every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
You know, we had a fantastic conversation with Damian and Gryphon last week, and we would love for you guys who are at that tier to join us. It is.
Yes, everyone should join.
It is tons of fun. We talked about D&D and a bunch of other stuff. We just kind of talk about whatever, really. But people can ask questions when you jump into that roundtable chat. If you have a specific question and you want Teal and I to give some individual, attention.
Yeah. So, that's what we do there.
Get us on a very small, intimate voice setting for a while. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Okay, well, let's call it.
Let's call it.
All right. So, Steele, did you have a good time?
I did. I was very nervous about jumping into this one because this is one of the more complex, because like you said, the list is huge.
Yeah,
and we could
it
have,
is.
We broke it down into, I think, the most common component.
I broke it down as basic as I could. It's not everything, but it was enough to get you started.
That's right. Now remember, tomorrow, Wednesday.
We love you guys.
All right. Well, if you like me so, the SmackDown like below, subscribe to our channel, consider supporting us on Patreon, connect with our Facebook, Discord, Twitter. See you Wednesday. Love you.
See you next time.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone